Call to order. Review of the July 9th, 2025 regular, the minutes. Anybody got any concerns?
On page 6, fifth comment down by myself, second line, perimeters should be parameters.
Parameters, got it. I even read that parameters in my head. Until you just said it, I was like, that's what it says. Oh, no, that doesn't say it.
That was all that I had.
Yes, ma'am.
I wasn't sure how many people to put down for the votes. I wasn't sure if we were counting everything that was on the phone, or I didn't know. So if I need to change it, I can. I wasn't sure.
Billy, that was you. What's your preferred?
Actually, I was not able to get on at the very beginning. Then I was on for a little while. Then I lost you guys, and I finally threw my hands up and gave up. So I was not. My votes wouldn't count in my eyes. I wasn't fully engaged.
The votes were unanimous. They were unanimous anyway. So whether you.
And that's fine. I was going to make sure the minutes reflected that I was joined for a period of time, but not for any length of time.
Good with that? Thank you.
As long as y'all are good, I'm good.
Yeah.
It does say unable to join online. I don't know if you want to
I did pick that up.
embellish that or if you're all right.
It was a gallant attempt for about 45 minutes there, and I just gave up. Holden Beach had a big storm come through on Sunday, and the internet was gone pretty much all week, which was great because you know the TV here. There's no TV, and great.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. I read it.
All right, so can I hear a motion to approve with Chris's correction?
Motion.
All right, motion and seconded. You got that? Motion denied, second. Riley. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Same right. All right, let's get in it. Who's doing this? Is this coming from Donna and Chris?
I don't know. Is it us? Okay, so what we did was basically pass the document from person to person. It went from me to Chris, and then Chris to Roxanne, and I think maybe looking in Roxanne.
I was the last person to.
Just to try to get it all through that process of sort of authoring it and getting it in everybody's hands before tonight's meeting. And I think, for the most part, I mean, I went back and checked, it didn't change much from what I had initially seen.
Yeah, it was very minor stuff, Don. Ligon gave a great foundation to start off with, and it was a nice job at refining it. And so it's fairly consistent with the original draft before we edited it. The second draft you put out.
And so the introduction is probably a little shorter. The goal was to sort of, get into the specific recommendations. So I think that's a little bit shorter, but it documents who the committee members are, the framework, the days we met on. I think there may have been a discrepancy with the county website on one or two of those dates, but I think they're right. We have them documented. We did meet quite a bit when you go back and look at it, so everybody's put some good work into this. Chapter 2 is called Data on Existing Conditions. It's really just background information, just talking about demographics and what we started with. And then Chapter 3 is the economic prosperity recommendations. There's only 4 there, but it's sort of the one big idea to some extent. The new designation of economic priority land use district was what everything revolved around.
Yep. Before you move on, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the only thing that I had a question about, because I just don't know where the data came from, was on page 8, the third bullet, in terms of the, and we don't need to get hung up on it. I was just wondering, what the source of data for 11,402 residents commuting out of the county is based on, and 42 and change hundred commute in.
I changed that in my edited draft to
Was that out of the,
11,009.
You came from Roxanne, but we're
Yeah.
wondering where the,
The number's different from what I originally gave, so, yeah, my edit had, I'll look back on my edit and give you my number.
But at the base of it, I was just curious as to where, what the origin of that data is, if we could possibly cite it
Yeah.
beyond county staff.
It's EDC.
Thank you. Perfect, okay.
Also,
Excellent.
the traffic numbers were a little, I made that.
That's 70,000 sounds kind of high.
It is.
Yep.
It should be about half that.
Yeah.
So let me double check that one, and I'll source it with VDOT and traffic counts.
Those are from the VDOT website, but
It should be traffic, I mean, the VDOT, like, just the traffic counts that they report every year,
I
but
thought mine was,
70s, that's not.
I agree. Last I saw it was like 36 and change.
So, we're echoing what Chris is saying, whatever you come up with there, just make sure you
I'll source
say what
it.
the source is, so we got that, okay?
so
Is that both ways? Out of the county?
No, it's-
into the
yeah.
county?
Right, it's counting both ways.
the way the county, the way the VDOT website shows, you click on eastbound and it says 35,000, you click on the westbound and it's 35,000, so that's probably my mistake. The number.
Oh, you might have doubled it, okay, yeah,
So
right, right.
probably 35,000,
yeah.
but I was trying to source all the numbers, so that was where that came from.
So is a trip considered one way, round trip?
One way, so you're sitting there counting, whether they're going east or west, 1, 2, you just count them both
So
directions.
70,000
is correct.
is correct.
Well, it may not be.
it may not be.
I may just not.
No, we're saying you're counting, you're not just counting one lane, you're counting both lanes.
But still, let's,
Four lanes.
So you can denote that in here and say.
the biggest thing is let's verify the numbers, and then reference where to Bob's point, reference where the numbers.
So when you click on either of the lanes, it's giving you the ADT for the road, not just for a directional. So I made that mistake.
Yeah, for whatever reason, same thing at 288, because there's an eastbound and a westbound.
Correct.
You click on it, so it may be
Right.
half this number, it may be 8,600 vehicles per day, maybe, so, instead of 17,200.
Yeah, I think that sounds about right.
Okay, great.
So, then we're on page 8, and I had a question on page 9, just want, for my evaluation. The median value of an owner-occupied home in Powhatan was reported at $381,300 for 2024. Where was that data captured?
That's all US Census Bureau.
No, that might be, but I think we probably want to use the Richmond Area Association of Realtors. And I have a better number, because I think, for whatever reason, the statewide, the census always never really seems to match up with the realtors, so.
Just, again, I would verify those numbers. Let's be consistent with where we're taking them from and then reference where they're coming from. So if somebody wants to go back, not doubting anybody's numbers because a lot of work went into this, I just want to be able, somebody to say, well, okay, that makes sense. This is where we got the data from, and yes, it's verified.
It's from the US Census Bureau American Community
I
Survey.
see that. Yeah.
So it doesn't mean it's the right number, but it's where it's sourced.
I could just, because I actually got the data from the Realtor Association a few months ago. We looked at it, so I think that's a better number.
What's the right number?
Bob and Mark are gonna ask the verification of all, good from the board. It's good. Powers and Mark. Kenny?
Well, I think we need to do our part to do,
Get that up.
fit it off so we get,
Do you know what the number is, Lou?
I could probably pull it up.
Yeah, I even have it in a folder.
It seemed low to me, but it might be that.
That's low. And census numbers always seem to be kind of lagging or a little low. I don't know, but.
But you said it was off of, what's the correct number? It's off of the Richmond?
Yeah, I just use the Richmond
Richmond
Realtors.
Association of Realtors.
Yeah, and I'll put that in there.
I can get on that. So we can give it to you.
I just got one question about economic priority, and I don't know if it should be under the data or further on, but early on, we spent a fair amount of time talking about especially Roxanne was leading us into conversation about why, I don't know if light industrial is the right word, or was what we needed to go after, because it was, remember, tools tax, high value jobs are in that sector, et cetera, and I just don't know. To me, that's an important point about why we went down the path of trying to find parcels that could support that. And I don't know if it's in page 14 or whether it should be under data.
The italicized section.
Well, I'm jumping between 8 and 14, just trying to figure out, do we have the data that says why we went after economic priority? Like I said, remember we were talking about different types of taxes. That brings in more so than maybe gateway business and et cetera. We were talking about what the granite place and how that brings in. Yeah, that's, yeah.
Somewhere in here, and now I'm like looking at it, trying to figure out where it's at, but we did talk about that. Okay, page 18 on the top one.
Page
18,
The higher wage jobs, okay, that's
such as
there.
logistics, clean tech, blah, blah, blah.
But maybe just a comment about
Maybe a little bit
machinery
more
tools
fleshing
tax.
out.
Yeah, just,
Yeah.
I mean, it can be very brief.
Top of 16 too talks a little about balancing gateway business with economic priority, and it mentioned specifically light industry. Because I think we were mostly thinking I-1 more than I-2. It doesn't specifically say I-1, but it says light industrial.
But I was just thinking, just add a little bit more reasoning behind the light industrial.
It might be appropriate right at the bottom of page 14, that last paragraph, to just add a sentence for clarity onto there, because it is talking about the strategic plan and our 85-15 split. And so it might be that it's appropriate there and it'll tie everything together.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll type up some paragraph about it and explain it a little bit and put it in bottom of 14 after the second paragraph.
Great.
Can we go back just a little bit to page 11? I just want a little bit of clarity here so I'm fully engaged. It talks about affordability. Talks about Ms. Winecki's reports, and Bob had done some work for us, and I think the table is attached. Did your calculation, Bob, and I apologize for, I tried to go back and pull over the notes. Did it talk about, you were saying $25.93 on mortgage, which translates to a home price of $325,000? Did that include insurance and taxes and all that in that calculation of $25.93?
Yes.
Because we gotta count that already.
Yeah, of the, you just, I mean, they've inserted it's kind of like a summary table in there, Bill. But, it's from what we had out. I mean, you may recall the handout we had on this, but it had a column for each of those, each of those categories. So
Yours was a spreadsheet, right?
yeah, the spreadsheet.
So, I mean, if anyone wants to back check it, it's that guy.
We could, you could cite it, put it in the appendix if you want to add it as an attachment.
We'll use that. It was citing your calculation. I think that's why.
This seemed to be a buzzword last night at the board of supervisors, affordability and also attainability.
Mm-hmm.
Two different things in my book.
Well, it's attainable if you work hard enough, I guess.
We did go back and forth on affordable versus attainable, and I found a note in the meeting minutes, I think you said something, Roger, about, we should call it one thing or the other, and then Susan was calling it affordable, and I figured it's harder for, say, other people higher up the food chain to call it affordable if we're not even willing to, so that was kind of the reason that this is written the way it is to provide a clear definition. Doesn't mean we're right, it's just a recommendation of
Yeah, I
what
think-
we would consider affordable, just because otherwise you're just having sort of a generic conversation about it, so.
Well, there was
question in my mind originally, the term accessible was being used. Somewhere in that.
Completely.
That's a really,
That's totally different, so. I'm not sure.
Further on
Affordable
page-
is one thing, attainable, what is that? What is attainable?
Further on page 12, we talk about the citizen working group viewed inventory as a tool to inform more strategic, efficient, and context-sensitive decisions. However, some of the groups have questioned whether the parcels were available for purchase. So basically, I appreciate that being in there because I think talking 228 lots that are out there, I think that was an attempt to say there's 228 lots that need to be built on, when in all honesty, of that 228, there's probably a large percentage that won't ever be built on because of challenges from a topo standpoint, or the people just don't want to sell them, or whatever it may be.
Well, no, the 220, so the 228, these were MLS listed and sold. So the prices in that period of time. So the prices there you're seeing are the actual transaction prices during that period.
I thought it was saying there's 228 lots available.
No, it's way more than that. Way more than that.
The-
It's up higher.
Up higher in the
For the
paragraph
last-
where it talks about the number that are available.
Oh, the 1454.
Yeah, those
Okay.
are all the numbers that are available. These were the number
Okay.
of lots and their value range and size range that sold during that period.
So we had 228 lots that were sold in a time frame of what?
Well, the last 5 years. I think
In
it-
5 years, 228 lots.
do a spreadsheet on that too.
Yeah, I've done like that.
All right, now this is vacant lots only, not resale of houses. Vacant, it's right above that says, Powhatan County have been sold as vacant land within the past 5 years. So that came from our data. That came from my database.
There's no dates on this.
So the vacant lot, they weren't residential lots, they were vacant land. It were turned into a residential lot?
Doesn't matter what they were turned into. This is just a transaction that was land only.
So the purpose of this,
We didn't look at their zoning, we didn't look at anything else. I mean, that's in our database, but we ignored all that. This was just vacant
so the
lots.
purpose of this statement is what? I'm not sure why the statement.
Well, the statement's in there. I mean, so there was a statement made that there's not any available, that wouldn't become available. And whatever it is, I mean, the fact is that, and this is from the realty community, that what actually happened here, 228 lots did come available, were MLS listed, and were sold as vacant lots.
And it does say
It's not what it
it
is.
says 5 years.
In the past 5 years, because that's all we have data.
And I mean, that's, well, that's all that the MLS had data for, that
Right.
you could pull back and get up to that point.
Yeah.
But I mean, we got them right here, there's there's 3 pages of them here, exactly what the lots are, tells what the transaction prices are, and so forth. So I mean, that's just, you know, additional information, it doesn't draw a conclusion.
And it was the 1,454 lots was the one we had the discussion about at the meeting, whether those were actually available lots.
Right.
So then this would be the follow-up information. 228 lots were sold within a 5-year period. And it's not, we didn't vote on anything, it's not drawing any conclusions, it's just
And we didn't draw any
information.
conclusion about what the 1454 meant either, and it may very well may be for sale or not.
Because this is part 2, not part 4 of the report, so this is just information.
Should we put MLS in there as the source?
Yeah, that's the source. And, I mean, we plotted about 114 of them, and it was a slow exercise finding the plot and put it on a map. But I mean, when you look at them on the map, they're all over the whole county. I mean, you know, you can look at those 114 there. They're all up in the east part, they're down here, there's a good number of them out there. A whole lot of them are existing R2 stuff, a whole lot of them are still in existing RU. A bunch of them are existing R5s, as well as other places that we just gave.
You're talking about the 1454.
No, I'm talking about the 228. We didn't plot all of the 228.
The difference is that the 1454 was just land. This is actually, land transactions, so it has a dollar value to it. So Ligon, where it says was done on 6 acres or smaller parcels, maybe say research was done on MLS.
Put it page 12.
Yeah, page 12, right below the bullets. the third line. So
Okay.
as a result, additional research was done. The point was done on MLS
Central Virginia.
or on the multiple listing server.
So at the end of this, when I was reviewing it and reading it completely in context, it stated correctly as just better understanding residential development capacity is all, and that's in that first sentence. So in that context, as I was reading through this, I was only taking it in, like, what is out there that has potential. And then the 228 lots, while it doesn't say it in here, it reflects over the last 5 years of the 1,454 that are there, about 15% of them transferred. But it, I don't know if we need to feel like we have the need to point out to the board. It's not inferring or trying to make a relation anything further than just land capacity. Not buildability, not built, anything beyond that. It's maybe just a high arching look at what capacity is there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's right now any recommendations or suggestions or conclusions drawn from it. We can't match that up. So the 1454, Chris, was data that we had, would be available to us at the start of our process, which would have been February data.
Which is a snapshot of a day.
Yeah, the date.
That's good.
Whereas what you're looking at here is a history of sales transactions.
Over a 5-year period.
So it's not a subset. I mean, it would be in some measure, but it's not a subset.
I understand that, but there's still a high level correlation there.
Well, I agree with that. Yeah,
I
totally
mean,
agree.
you look at 228, only 15% transaction
That's over 5 years.
over a 5-year period. It's a low number.
Very low.
I mean, it's 3% a year if you're to look at it that way, roughly. So, but again, I was just trying to get at, there was nothing more trying to be read into that other than it was just a high level look at what's there.
I mean, I didn't try to insert the map of it. The map's pretty telling. It gives a lot more information. I mean,
Sure.
You're welcome to sit and around and look at the map. And I'm not suggesting put any of it in there. But I mean, the map shows you all these little black dots are all places where those sales took place. And, it shows you right on there, the red is R2 and the blue is R5 and the yellow is RU. And what you can see, even from only half of them being plotted, there was a lot of sale activity that took place in existing, R2, R5, and RU zoning. It's interesting, man. Not suggesting put it in there, but,
Anybody want to see that? Point of the map is that most of this all happened within already zoned land. There's very few black dots that are outside of that. Which is kind of the same statement I've made, that lots that were not sellable 10 years ago because of topography, cul-de-sacs, blah, 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 are now all over the market. Same thing with, we just did some transactions this past month that we've had on the books for years as non-buildable because of a septic, no perk site. And now all of a sudden they can get perk sites with engineered systems, and we've never taxed them as a building lot because they had been in the past deemed non-buildable. And now they got septic systems and they're being built on. So the undesirable slowly works its way to desirable when there's a low inventory.
I was surprised by the price range on the lots.
Yeah.
That somebody got one lot for $9,000. So when I started looking, so then I got the map for Bob and I started looking at it. I mean, it does, depending on what neighborhood you're looking at or what road you're looking at, it varies.
Well, that's a perfect example. You go into, I'll say name the subdivision. We go into Holly Hills, and we had a lot next to a lot that was owned by the same person, and one was deemed non-buildable because of no perk site. We would throw a regular residual land price of something like $9,000, or in that case, I think it was actually $11,000, because it's of no good other than to that person as residual land. But then when they put it on the market and a certain builder can come in and get a perk site on it and build a house, that single $9,000 sale will now show as a, which is another reason that new construction and things like that are not used in our reassessment numbers, is because that's now gonna be a $120,000 lot when it gets sold with a house on it, as opposed to a $9,000 lot that was deemed residual land, non-buildable.
And the investment is an engineered system, which is not $100,000.
$30,000 at the most, and,
Right.
yeah.
And it makes it total.
Yep.
Interesting.
So we have, we're on it.
Do we have any idea of, and I know this point, but do you have any idea of how many of those 228 lots have been permitted for building? Over that same period?
When I'm trying to back in, you go up further on the.
That would be a one by one.
There's some data in there on building permits and things, but it's not necessarily.
You'd have to go one by one.
Granular.
The only way to do that would be one by one.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any two systems that are gonna.
Yeah, I mean, if there's a point to be made of this further study, I mean, it doesn't have to be us. It could be worth, there is a housing study I know that is being worked on. I don't think we've seen the final report,
Is
but
that the one with Habitat?
if this has merit in a housing solution, I think it's something that we can look at more closely.
I think the biggest takeaway to me is if the board, if I'm sitting there on a board and they say you've got 14,322 lots, of that 228 have been sold in 5 years, that means I've got a certain supply limit. Well, no, we're not trying to say that. What we're trying to say is the availability of some of those lots will never be built on, some will never be sold. You know, I mean, I do agree with Jamie that there are lots that were not built on and are now being built on, but they're not. They still haven't helped the, for lack of a better word, the affordability issue.
Correct.
Attainable or affordable.
Oh, we're ready.
Back to Bill's point.
Oh, none of it, I mean, none of us has a crystal ball there in this thing, so, you report the facts are, you can take for them where the hell they want to take
I think
it. There's not a defensible conclusion necessarily to make out of it.
I think there was one lot at Powhatan under $100,000 listed.
On them others, right.
One lot.
How many total?
Okay, so 228, so 228, and probably a better figure here, so you've got the average, this on page 12, you've got a little one-line kind of summary across the 228, and it has an average value of, average price, sale price of 133.14. I mean, probably a better figure that ought to go in there is the median for that group, and the median calculated on the same list is $105,000 even.
Yeah.
So that's the median. So half of them below that, half of them above that. Again, that's the, you got the whole list is right here, it's in order, but it's
So you're proposing that the purchase price or
I'd just
the
say
average,
the
maybe it should be
median,
median price?
yeah, I'd use the
instead of
median
average?
purchase price rather than the average. I mean, what happens with the average, you take the houses that are way up there and they just yank it up.
You're taking that one that sold for $528,000.
Yep.
So median is 105.
105 on the numbers.
Everybody agree like that?
Yeah.
Median instead of average there? I think it's probably more realistic to what's for sale.
This is all there is on vacant lots. I mean, it's, like I said, it's not a solution. I don't think there's anything else in here. This is just chapter 2 stuff. This is just background information on vacant lots. And then there's some information in here about average median price home sales and things like that, but not this much of a deep dive. So because we had a discussion about this.
There was one other, before we leave the, let's the data transfer. Although I saw it a few minutes ago, and then I got turning through things, I couldn't find it again, so. But there, well, it seemed to me all the other references are to, where Roxanne came from, what the proposal was as an economic priority land use district. And then the one spot early on when it first mentioned it was an economic priority land use classification. I don't think we want to do that. I mean, they're all going to be consistent. It's a land use district is what they all are, and this is just like any one of them. So.
We're going back and forth on that, right? I think you had classification in your edits. I had district, but then which one would it be? From a planning perspective, what would that be? A district or a classification? For economic priority?
Oh, I'd call it classification.
Why would you, I mean, you don't call gateway business a classification.
I mean, it's not a zoning district. I mean, I don't really think,
I mean, it's intended to be a district just like the rest of the districts are. That was the idea.
right.
I mean, we don't want to put it into we don't need to get another category that's not been agreed on. For the supervisors, we say now we want to talk about land uses being classifications or being districts. I mean, they're either all one thing or they're going to be the other.
Where are all the others in the comp plan already?
Well,
They're all districts, aren't they?
gateway, business, all that, let's,
I don't think they're spelled out
And
specifically.
in the ordinances, I believe it's referred to as land use districts.
I thought everything on the future land use map was a district.
I mean, I don't think it makes a big real, you know, as long as you're consistent with what you use, but I usually think a district is, you know, a zoning district and land use
The
classification.
question really comes down to what's in the ordinances. If the ordinances refer to land use districts, then I think we
Yeah, but the comprehensive plan is not the ordinance, that's the distinction.
well, whatever it
Comprehensive
is.
plan is not a binding document. If you
Correct.
did anything or not, it's a guiding tool. I think people need to keep that in mind. It's not a binding document. Your ordinances and all of those things are binding. That's what binds development.
Well, isn't it called I mean, in the land use map, doesn't it refer to as districts?
We don't call them anything.
it doesn't, no, it
Well,
doesn't.
Calls them
I just wanna
growth
make-
areas.
We just need to make sure we use the same terminology.
Maybe areas.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Everything I see calls it areas, boundary areas, growth areas, rural areas. There's nothing that says district or classification.
I would support that.
Why don't we just drop the word period? Like if you just say economic priority,
You're gonna need a noun in there for characteristics.
well then I would use areas if we're being consistent, because that's, here's the county
Let's use that
land
across
use
the
map,
board.
and everything else in there says area.
That works for me.
Everybody good with that word?
Yes. Yeah. Use area?
Yeah.
Consistent.
For all of them.
This is a little off base, but I figured it, since we moved past it, I'll bring it back up. Well, kind of one of the aha moments as I read this is on page 8. It says, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, as of November 2024, Powhatan's unemployment rate was 2.3%, which was tied to the lowest in Arlington. What my aha moment was, if we're trying to do economic development to facilitate business growth, and you don't have any more, and you've got the low unemployment, and you've got to get some housing and move people into the county to provide jobs for those people. So I think it's important that we don't, as I've said, we do have an issue. We do want economic development, but we've got to have housing to be able to support that economic development. With a 2.3% unemployment rate, it's not many people out of jobs in Powhatan. Just something to keep in mind.
That's one vision. My vision is to have less commuters.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Back and forth to Midlothian.
And you are very true. That's several times. As a person who does, right?
And I understand both
Because
visions.
this is employment, it doesn't say where they're employed. And part of the goal was to try and keep them here because it.
Create jobs within the county.
Yeah, well, and it's not just created within the county, because then they also spend their money. If you're not driving past, the opportunist spender is a very, very high percentage. If I've got to drive past a grocery store that's not in the county, I would stop there for efficiency before I waited until, when they're not driving past it, the opportunity, I think they call it opportunist spending, goes away. They're gonna spend the money where they're already at. They're not gonna make a special trip out there to go get it.
And I would further expand, if you're trying to get somebody to come here from Chesterfield to work here,
Ain't gonna happen.
because they will drive by 20 businesses when they get here, find that job. Better be a darn nice job, better be, so it's a balance.
Your trades,
It was an aha.
yeah, your trades are the only thing that are probably commuting in currently.
Yeah, I don't think it's here or there, because I don't think you can make any blanket statement. I mean, it's, various lots that are currently vacant, I mean, they're gonna be scarfed up by people that don't wanna move in here, if in fact they can get a job and work on that, I mean, it's a great source, especially with some high income jobs. But, people living in Chesterfield County, I mean, it would be crazy to say that all this god-awful number of people that they're shoving into apartments over there in condos in Westchester wouldn't come out here for a job. There's no commute at all. It's like, what do you get here, 20 minutes with almost no traffic, you're on in the direction you're going in? I mean, it's a winner all the way. If I'd had that all my working life, I'd have been a pretty happy camper. Still never had that.
We could, that's, I like that theory. I don't know where it would fit in, but if you, that's,
I'm not suggesting you put any of that in. I'm
it's
just
almost
pointing out,
the inverse of what reality is happening now, so that would be a
that was
definite.
a positive for that.
Yeah, that's a I mean, there's a definite positive if they're coming from Chesterfield and working here and going back to
Some are,
Chesterfield.
there is a heavy left turn at Oak Ridge Business Park in the mornings. I mean, people are.
Trades, but they're coming out of there with, that's what I'm saying. You're gonna see a lot of the trade
They're
stuff
going-
coming out of
And
there.
then they're going back.
Exactly.
They're going to work and then
Yeah.
they're going home, because there's no
Yeah.
other, like, supplemental businesses.
Right.
But if you start putting in business like Roxanne is envisioning, I mean, those jobs are good jobs. And, you know,
Yeah.
they're not gonna be tone deaf to that. You know, they're gonna say, I can get that, I'm living right here, I get exactly what I want. I can afford more than an apartment at the moment.
Speaking of industries and transportation and trying to not clog the roads, on page 18, we have on the top paragraph, it talks about the industries like logistics. That's not a sector we're going after, so we're going to take that out. So no logistics, but clean tech, healthcare services, advanced manufacturing, and also vertical ag and ag-related industries are in our sectors.
Ag-related was under the fourth priority sector. So you can-
Yes, yes. I was,
What'd you want
you
to
could add that
eliminate,
in there.
Roxanne?
We want to take out logistics, because logistics
Take out
is
the word.
transportation heavy, we don't want that.
Got two questions on page 16. Can we add a map that actually shows the parcels? You know, I think the housing ones, the maps are much bigger, and you can see the parcel.
Oh,
This
well,
one-
that's in.
Is it, unless it's independence or backup?
It is, it should be the independent.
Okay.
But that should be referenced there, so if you're, let's say you're one of
Yeah,
the supervisors
to
looking at it, they know
appendix.
to go right back here. The
If
details.
it's there. Do you see it?
Well, yeah, this is.
Yeah, they're all.
This is
Okay, there's the EP, okay.
It's got matches, but this is not an appendix, or it is an appendix, it's still.
Okay. And then the second sentence from the top, it says, these parcels, these 72 parcels, are currently designated gateway business in rural areas. And that kind of struck me a little bit, that kind of jarred me a little bit. It sounds like we're taking a lot of rural land and turning it into EP. Do we know what offhand, what the split was between, are we putting a lot of
It's easy
rural
enough.
areas into the EP?
Well, there are some,
And
yes,
ye-
yes, there are some.
I know there's some, but I'm saying, I know a lot is a subjective word, but it just kind of struck me as if you were a novice,
I mean,
yeah, if you were a
it's an
novice
easy thing.
person reading that, it was kind of like, what are we doing? We're killing the county.
Killing the county, we need
Yeah.
rural character.
Right here. Yeah, we're taking the rule, that's right.
There was never any particular statement that you weren't gonna look at A10s, especially in areas that were reasonable for growth areas, and that's.
Right, but I'm just saying, it's
You
a
didn't
little
say
jarring.
A10, this says rural, it doesn't say A10.
Yeah.
Well, it says rural because that was edited, and I think it's because, Ligon, why is that? Who changed that? Is it because of the future land use map that we said rural instead of A10? That was changed.
Well,
Yeah, 'cause
I
you're
don't
not
think
looking-
there's much of anything other than, you know, the rural residential up off.
You're right.
On the river, everything else is A10, isn't it?
Fit for consistency.
Yeah, because it was referring to a specific zoning the way.
But would it not be, I guess Chris's point, and I kind of agree with him a little bit, is that when you say, what do we constantly hear? We don't lose our rural character. Don't lose the rural character. Of course, we don't know what the definition of rural is, but
There are
you're saying you're now taking 72 parcels and you're taking some of the rural areas. I don't see rural areas on Route 60. Although,
Well, you know, so what you're working with here is land use areas.
Bob, I understand that. You understand that. We're trying to be fair to the board and the public.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying that when you look at the current land use map, as well as the one we're proposing, right? On the current land use map, all these things that are A10, they're all of them designated as rural areas, all of them. Right down on Route 60 and all along there. So I mean, if you want to go in and call them A10s, you could, but you're not doing that with respect to gateway business, because in the gateway business itself, they were also A10s.
Yeah, but like I said, my only point is, I think it's a little bit jarring to me, and if I was a person who didn't understand everything, the background you just mentioned, like Billy's saying, I would think, hey, they're eating up the rural land, they're taking the rural land away from
Oh,
us.
yeah, that's not fair.
And I just don't think that's what we want to.
It's easy to get that split, we can do that easy.
Well, the intent behind this was to show that we're not just moving lands from gateway business to economic priority, because then are we really creating, the way we did the math, we'd be creating a good tax split, but we wouldn't necessarily be doing that unless we were taking land that wasn't gonna develop as gateway business and magically turning it into light industrial. So the point was to show commercial and residential. So based on this discussion, I think we could still make that point by saying it that way. Instead of referring to gateway business in rural areas, we could say these parcels include areas currently designated for commercial and residential on the future land use map.
That's fine, I'm good with that, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And we didn't, well, there was never, so when Roxanne recommended the set of parcels.
And that same statement is on page 14,
Okay.
where it says gateway business and rural areas.
And there's only,
When Roxanne recommended the set, tell me if I'm wrong, when you selected the parcels, you were pretty well current use blind on it. I mean, you picked a set of parcels that in there that you thought had promise, you know? And then, we backed it up, right, with, then we used the figures off of those. And it fell out in some combination of, these were ones that were in A10s, these are ones that are in gateway business, you know what I'm saying?
so when we
But you
started-
weren't shooting to get the balance one place or the other.
No, but when we started, most everything was in gateway, to do that flip between gateway to economic priority to make sure that there wasn't so much gateway on there. So we stayed within those 2,000-foot parameters, north and south, which most everything down 60 north and south is gateway currently. The only sections that we did change that would have been rural would have been the parcel north of 60, by the a little bit west of Flat Rock, and then the parcel that comes out on Red Lane Road. That was it.
And then
Everything
then
else
we
was
go
in
down a little
gateway.
bit, then we go a little bit down Juice Ferry toward the high school.
Those were already gateway. Yeah.
We did use, with Chris's recommendation where the split was, we did use half of the A10 parcel that went to the solar farm.
Correct. That was the one, Flat Rock.
The lower part of that, Chris kind of help us with a line to go across there.
Right.
We separate that. But that was, that's the
So
only other.
overall, of all the acreage, you're probably looking at less than 15%. I'm doing calculations in my head, they're probably aren't correct, but 15% or less was a rural designated area.
Right, and we did add.
We currently have something on it.
Yeah, I get that.
Right.
Oh, right now?
No, I mean,
That makes sense.
just
Oh,
before we
easy.
report
It's
it,
easy.
that'd be a good number to know.
That's easy.
Yeah, that's, I was thinking, if you
We did have though, you're right, if you recall, my recollection is, that we do have in there a set of, I don't know, it's 4 parcels or something, right at the Red Lane, where Red Lane
Right.
comes to 60.
Right.
They were all A10.
right. So
Right, but other than
there's 2
that,
sections.
Couldn't you just say along US Route 60 corridor?
Bingo, that's where I was just
Okay.
going,
There you
to
go.
clarify.
You didn't go out on, you didn't go out on 609, you didn't
Oh.
go out on 711, you didn't go out on Jude's Ferry Road, you just did it all along the US.
So we're
Route corridor.
gonna cross out designated and that whole end of that and say, these parcels include areas, currently, or we don't even have to say currently, we just say located along,
Generally located along the Route 60
Yeah.
corridor.
yep.
So-
Because while I hear and 100% agree with your theory of the public's interpretation, I also have a hard time with them not taking the time to educate themselves, because it clearly calls all of those rural areas on the map.
It does.
And we just now said we want to stay consistent with the map, and now we're gonna create something that's not. So I like generally along Route 60 a whole lot better, and don't even talk about where they came from.
Okay.
well, and
Because that-
to Billy's point, the we didn't address it like that here, we would sure as hell end up having to address it after the fact.
We could ask questions.
Well, did you hear all of the stuff that we were talking about? And everybody listening, and we go blah, blah, blah. When you have to explain a lot, people go blah, 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 and they stop what you have to say.
That's right.
What were you gonna say?
What were you gonna say?
Page 16, to the beginning of the third sentence, again, to be consistent, it says the remaining district will be in the area.
Yep.
That's gonna be like a search.
You're just gonna have to scrub that one. Everywhere you see that,
There's a bunch of places where we need to search for that.
everywhere we called it a classification or a district, it needs to be changed to the word area.
Yep.
Can you review the sentence that you said earlier?
So it's these parcels include areas generally located along Route 60 on the future. We don't even have to say on the future island. We just end it right there.
Along 60.
Period.
Let's see.
Gives you a little more room to put something at the bottom.
There was on page,
16. You got the page number? You got where we're at? Okay,
I
yeah.
just fixed it.
It's on 14 too, Chris?
I was trying to find 14. Where did you
No,
have
no,
it?
he said 14 first.
Oh,
Or is that your first question, 14?
No, I think it's
Dave,
60.
okay.
16.
Yeah. Because I was trying to find them on 14. You said 14 and I was racking my brain.
Yeah, I think 14's okay. I was
14's
looking at
clean.
it.
Okay. I got two things on 17.
District
The table.
classification, not area. And then-
The money shot there is 6.7 to 15. And I think if we could either color or some kind of textual thing to show, boom, 6.7, and then we hit the magic number of 15.
what's our page? Oh,
Page
yeah, yeah, yeah,
17,
yeah.
just making this to this, a different color or bold or
It's all
something
molded
that
now,
pops
so
it out.
just,
Well, make it a
just want to make it
different
pop,
color. I love
whatever
it.
you want to say, yeah.
Yep.
Well, you just tell me a color, we'll do it. That's an easy one there.
Then I said he doesn't care what color you make it. How about if we italicize?
It's all black, right? Yeah.
You gotta read all the.
Increase the font?
You gotta read all the fine print, yeah.
And then what it says, projected assessments with the development of the,
Hold us to it,
I
but
wonder
it does
if it's better to say all.
background a little.
And we're calling them districts again. Area, area, area.
Yeah, all that should get
I
fixed.
think
all
it
this
should be, I think it should be, it's
All you gotta do
max.
is highlight your document and then.
This is a spreadsheet.
So,
Yeah, that's right off the spreadsheet.
I understand the purpose of the table itself, but keep in mind that there will be people who will dissect and digest this, and they're gonna challenge it, because there's some stagnancy. You know, Chris Justin, I talked about this one evening about how we're making some assumptions that these things won't change and all the other things. So be prepared when you put a table in here. And I understand the purpose of the table was to say why, how we got to a thought process to achieve the goal that we were charged to achieve. Be prepared that I think some people are gonna challenge the numbers a little bit, and I'm not saying we need to defend them, it's rational, but there's some, there
Well,
will be.
but the rationale, exact rationale for how the numbers were arrived at is stated in a sequence right associated with the table in there. That doesn't mean they're gonna read it, Billy. I mean, I totally
Yeah.
agree with that.
Same
But,
thing.
you know, it's all right. It's all totally defensible, and you can tell them as much detail
We
they
use
want,
an
or
average.
more than they want.
We use an average based upon this, I understand, I'll sit there do it, but
It happens.
it's gonna be challenging. I'm not gonna say it's good or bad, but be prepared.
What is it? There's a heading in here called Proposed Economic Priority Maps.
No change.
What is this? Right there? No, this is, I made the mistake of pulling out things and I took some things that were changed. And then I just copied a subset of that, so it screwed up all the page numbers. Should have
Oh, yeah.
turned the whole goddamn thing out, and I would have to. But, there's something there, it's a small thing.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Page 50.
It's 15, so let's see where it says right before. There's a right before there.
And, I mean, that's a good point, just the way that printed, when I printed it, we're gonna clean up, like, that should technically be at the top of the next page. Like, that kind of stuff, formatting, I'm leaving to y'all, I don't wanna sit here and go through that, but like, obviously, the introduction to that shouldn't be the end of the page, it should be the top of the
Director
page.
of Economic Development. See that one?
Base bars, base bar.
bottom of page 15 has the intro to what starts on page 16. Yeah. And that's gonna move something else that you then gotta clean up
So
later.
you take in some of those words.
That's right. It might fix it.
All too.
Yes. Yes, okay. So I think this is page 17, number 4, it's a small thing. But at the very bottom, it says you're talking about resulting from fully developing these parcels consistent within the, I think you just want to say consistent with the economic priority area.
Area.
Yeah, just kill it, IN.
Get that one, Roxanne?
Got it.
Oh, you can tell them you can look at the YouTube videos of the Citizen Working Group. That's an ugly shot.
Page 8, under housing and residential options, this must be the section on conservation subdivisions.
What page is you on?
What page?
I don't know,
That's housing.
I printed out like a subsection, big mistake, it's I lost one of my pages.
You're jumping
I
ahead.
know,
Let's go.
I know, it's like, okay.
We're
I
through
meant to be
18, I
stupid at
think.
home, it wouldn't
We're
be
through
honest.
18, I think. 19. Anybody got any notes on those? I think if we stay in that order, we'll be
You
good.
want to
Yeah,
stand in
great.
order? Okay, that'd be good.
We mentioned voluntary proffers regarding water, I guess it is. So does that mean that's something that we are advocating as a working group, or
Well,
this is
I
19?
think that's right out of EP, was that not the wording right out of EP 3?
I feel like that, what did the Newbury report say?
Yeah, I think that was something out of their report. We didn't ever talk about
Okay,
buffers.
okay,
I
that's-
think, but let's
Okay.
let's make sure we're,
I mean, one of the things that was in that recommendation we voted on that would be consistent with that is that we weren't gonna be spending county money right on acquiring these lands.
That's regarding the land trust. This is more
Oh, where's
the
it?
utilities.
this is,
Oh.
this is all talking about utilities.
Yeah, yeah.
No problem.
And that was in a Dewberry.
So if it's just a Dewberry statement,
I think it came out of
I just-
Dewberry,
yeah,
but I
okay,
can't-
that's
Well, I would make the same statement. I mean, if somebody comes forward with voluntary proffers to service their property, like extending water lines or sewer lines, why would you
They
not
do.
consider
Yeah.
that? That would be a pretty significant, we just had that with the sewer down by Holly Hills, where they agreed to extend the sewer system.
Yeah, we typically do factor that in.
but if they don't come with a voluntary proffer, are we saying something?
Well, no, it's
No.
still voluntary. I don't think we're saying.
Okay,
That's-
okay.
We can't, for the county.
Right.
And it's similar to a land trust. I mean, if they come forward with it, it's completely voluntary. The county's not gonna build it. Probably are trying to develop a long piece of land if they can't extend utilities.
And I'm thinking the Dewberry report, if I remember right, it's been a while, there were mentions or talks about, maybe Chris knows a little more about it than any of us, or Matt or somebody from the EDA, possible, revenue sharing back after, the developer puts it in at the cost, but, you'll rebate them back the cost to put in, but, because your dollars are.
The oversizing of the system.
Yeah, your dollars are generated off of the daily use of flushing toilets and washing clothes and all the other things, and businesses using water.
I don't know if it's in the Dewberry report. I mean, that's a Chesterfield and Henrico, they all grant rebates if you oversize lines for future
Well, I didn't
development.
see that in there.
Maybe it's a previous Dewberry report that I'm thinking of, but I could have swore at one point there was talking about.
I do think they mentioned voluntary proffers, but I'm not
Sure. Yeah, David.
Okay, I'm good.
All right, page 19. Twenty. Try not to pass you.
Yeah, this is housing trends.
We're still on 20.
20?
Yes.
We're on 20, I'm trying to make sure we haven't jumped past Bob's subset.
Unnumbered subset.
I'm rolling.
Yeah. 21,
Now we're on housing.
Yeah, I got housing, the first sentence, it says may not. I think we ought to change that to will not. The county's existing housing stock will not
Yes.
meet the needs of a diverse and growing population.
okay,
Right, it's the first
21.
paragraph, third sentence. Will not, so you're on 21.
I don't have a problem with it because I agree with you, but I think about the English teacher in me with putting words that are like definite words. Like, that's it, because I agree with the statement, we will not, but I'm toying in my head whether, do we just make that statement, or we,
Well, the board has kind of already made that statement. That's
Yeah.
what we have.
yeah.
So I think it's just.
I think the sentence
yeah.
before,
It's tentative.
Yeah.
Jamie, the sentence before says predominantly large lot, single-family homes.
Right.
They will not meet
Yeah.
the need, so referencing mostly large lot, single-family homes.
That's what, I agree with your statement. I 100% agree with your statement and agree, I'm just the.
Hold on.
Come on.
It's like you're never supposed to say never, right? Like, because it'll
But
happen,
at this
so it's
time,
the
Well, the county
limit.
attorney would differ. She says shall not.
Right.
There's no room to,
You want black and white?
Yeah.
Cali always says that.
But if you say may not, it leaves room for interpretation.
yeah.
I want to ask a little different question here on this subject. When you use the word large lot, single-family housing, which they've used, they made 3 times in here altogether, what exactly are we
That's
saying?
10 acre or larger. Large lot is a defined 10 acre or larger in the,
Well, that's
In the
not-
definitions.
That doesn't work, okay? Here's why it doesn't work. Of the 10,263 lots in the tax map, on which there are houses, the median lot size is 2.6 acres. So, there's no way you can be saying 10 is, and more is what we got here, that's not at all true.
You're saying the average 10-acre lot size is average 2.6 acres?
Nope, I'm saying the median is 2.6 acres.
The median size
So that,
lot that's built on it.
Median size
Of the
lot that has a
10,000
house built on it,
right.
2.6 acres, that is a set on which that base, that's a set of 10,263 lots.
But that's all the lots in the county, right?
All the lots that are in the text.
Right, the way I read it is saying that the current situation, we're predominantly building on 10 acres or large lots, whatever that's defined. And we need to stop that pattern, is what it.
I think you gotta look at what that would be. I mean, for example, most of the building that took place in the 228 that we looked at before, or most of the sales, those were much smaller. They were lots in RU, small ones, R2 and R5, none of which is gonna meet this 10-acre standards. So it's just that if you're gonna use a definition somehow, or implicit definition, you've gotta have an answer for what does this mean? What does this apply to? It certainly doesn't apply to all the lots in the county.
No, but this, I don't think this is, so I agree with what you're saying when you compare it to all the lots in the county, but this is talking about the current land use framework and the current, we haven't had a rezoning of any type of that style in years. It's all been that's saying the current patterns, is what it's saying.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
So
Not the existing stock.
So let's go back to 10 years. 10 years ago, Jamie's right. 10 years ago, there was a 250-acre rezoning application. You call that a 250-acre parcel. It rezoned to 5-acre average, 2-acre minimum. Right? So how's that?
They rezoned it, back in those days, you would have had to rezone it to,
The 5 acre average.
R5.
R5, yeah.
It would've been
It was
R5.
5 acre
R5
average,
would give
2
you that
acre minimum.
flexibility, right.
It was done till it finally stopped, when the board finally said enough. So
I think it's referring to
that 5 acre
current
average,
patterns,
right, or was that 10
not
acre?
the whole stock or
That was
inventory.
agricultural properties.
Well,
I'm still trying, back to your number.
yeah, no, I mean, you're looking at, so here's the standard by which you went. It's, there's a house on this.
Multiple houses. Would you say
You're going lot by lot, you're going tax parcel by tax parcel.
Okay.
And on each one of these, there's a house. So that's the standard. You're not looking at anything else. You're not looking at vacant land or any of this stuff. You're just looking at things that actually have a house on it and have a tax back number and are in a system. And there are, you know, through the February 2025 time, when the 24 date at the end, there was 10,263 of these lots. And the median number is 2.6 acres. I mean, you know, I get the list. I saw the whole thing scrolled down.
And
That's
that's-
exactly where halfway.
That's for all those neighborhoods that were done in, back in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think his point is, I think his.
All that's dragging that
That
out.
was RU, all that stuff was
And none of
RU.
that's happened recently.
Right, that's not happening.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
we're
still
on
Existing patterns.
As long as you make that clear, I don't have any trouble with it. I mean,
Yeah,
So-
just true patterns.
It says focusing on the housing patterns, the current housing patterns and land use framework, recognizing that large lot.
I think that's fair.
Well, the villages have it.
And really, it's saying that large lots or even continuing to create large lots will not meet that
Right.
definition, so, yeah.
Well, you know, we took that as a premise going into,
Yes.
you know, the subdivision. Yeah,
I mean, I'm not gonna fight with it, I just wanted that statement to
I have no trouble with it.
Ms. Guy or Will.
Well, I mean, Powhatan maybe has a definition of 10 acres being a large lot. I'm on 2 acres, it's a pretty large lot, so.
And most of the live on.
You're in a high density neighborhood, that's what that is.
It's not, and most of the people live on 10 acres, live on 2, and they sit there and they pay taxes on it. Anyway.
All right, before we go to 22, do we wanna take a break and grab pizza and drinks and go back to it?
I'm good with that.
That good?
And that pizza
That's-
gets
we're
cold.
almost
We don't
halfway.
want that.
And that's,
Well, I know you was eating cold pizzas when you were working in college.
Yesterday's pizza.
my wife loves yesterday's pizza. and I can't stand it. I gotta eat my pizza.
College.
Choice,
Got plenty of
choice
ones.
between that and going to the
Plenty of
cafeteria, I'll go to yesterday's pizza every time.
How are you?
Tammy.
Yeah, I know I'd seen it before, but that's,
Right now, covering a lot of ground.
Oh, yeah, it should be brought up real quick.
Other nights it's paralysis.
Oh, yeah.
Tried to go through all the.
sorry, man, go ahead. Hey, that's right.
Yeah, I went through.
I can't eat any meat in the front line. I don't know, all meat, I'm just fed. Pepperoni, plain pepperoni.
What do you like about that?
Cheese. Yeah. I just need cheese. Can't eat any. I can't. But.
I was gonna say, are you that?
Yeah, well.
I mean,
Like I say,
I know it's public, and I think of course. But yes, I agree with that.
Turkey hot dogs are not very good nor chicken.
No, and barbecue really just needs to be pork. I'm sorry.
Chicken barbecue. It's okay if you
It'll
throw
work.
it on barbecue sauce.
It'll work.
I was happy with the outcome.
It's not forever though. It does, well,
Yeah, but
Billy remembers that.
Maybe it's just.
The school board is
Go in there, Patty got the baby again.
Oh, my gosh. She's still in the pictures though. Oh, yeah.
Shouldn't we work on it? If they were trying, we'll get 50% back and put it in the maintenance reserve fund? Sure. Wouldn't that better?
Oh, yeah, right. Because she would get 30% more than this year. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. She got to retire like, I don't very much. They're 60s, that's what it's like.
I was seriously expecting.
No, it's just, yeah, like you say, it's crazy. We're in love.
I was like, because it, I mean, it was 4 foot. It fell from right here.
Billy, where were you at the beach?
Holden Beach. And they did have a nor'easter or a storm blew up on Sunday afternoon. 40, 50-mile-an-hour winds and a lot of rain, and we just sat inside and watched it. But to knock power and the internet out, and we didn't get internet till probably Thursday.
Who called me, please?
Chris was having to go out, my son was doing work, remote feed and all that.
I did.
He kept telling us, we were coming to fix it.
I've like that several times or something.
We couldn't watch Netflix, couldn't watch any TV, it was actually really quiet. We played board games, Rover Crazy,
Had to do with who that was out, like trying different things out, and I think that's part of it.
What beach was that?
Holden Beach is like a lot of.
We're gonna go because the waves not.
Yeah, so we'll do it.
North Carolina.
See, my kids went to bad ways, so we go to, and like day 2, 3, 4 were all red flag. And my wife's, I'm trying to right here.
When your kids together, you're not dealing with little ones.
Oh, no.
Especially when you add up the dollars.
We're not in four, but when they came to little, I just said, we're not gonna go to Harris, we're not going to Denver, we're not going to Florida. We're gonna go to Myrtle Beach, but I don't wanna go to Myrtle Beach with too many people.
Right. I just like Duck because I'm not really a beach person. And I can ride my bike back and forth. And there's plenty of little ice cream shops and candy stores and plenty of things that take up my time. Uh-huh. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there's puddles everywhere.
Used to have the page numbers, technical content. So it goes straight.
Toad out there. Well, I met the girl that owns the tow company that has pretty much exclusive beach rides. There's a few.
That's what you said to the sheriff. That's what I gotta do.
I got these pictures that go down. See the way the words.
Call everybody, really.
They got the
Circles back around, that's gonna be what I think.
And the guy that's out on the thing, and that's all they
You know what you call that fancy stuff in there, they do like on the legs.
You can change clothes you want. What do you want to do? I'll wave your toes over. Now, should we make a phone call? Call.
Hey, Billy, I like your shirt.
Thank you.
Oh,
Oh, wow. Twin brother, look at it, same hair, same hairdo also.
I've got the same barber, the same, butler.
I didn't know we had team uniforms.
Yeah.
Oh, I got was
Actually, I've got pizza. Bill, I've got more compliments on the shirt than I have on any shirt I own, you know? Even my wife told me she liked it, which was right.
Everybody else is good sanitary.
Hi, I'm Bill Donati.
I talked to Michael last night, I was at the meeting. I said,
Yeah, and I know Barbara is also working on school. Anytime that's just saying, anytime community is involved in that, I'm really.
I think you get this out, we were supposed to get all these other studies started, and this study's gonna be done this day, this study's gonna be done this day. So, you know, get a pat on the back, we did what we were told to do. Yeah, we didn't slow down. We're doing,
None of them have goals.
Nobody could blame us for slowing the process down, we did, we had the discussions and we did the job.
Glad you're here.
Thank you, I mean, as I said.
Due date, and he had to, like, response, he didn't know what to say. There was no due date, you know?
Was it for us they were talking about?
No, something to do with GRTC, but the guy just froze.
Leave them to a document like this.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going into speed.
What's the due date?
Well,
Very good. Thank you.
Good to meet you.
Very nice.
We had 3 people present to us that they do the same thing, all asking for money. Not just one of them, you do this to do it. They all try to justify.
So this group?
Very well, they present, they try to get their 20 pounds in gas station charge. Couldn't just take 40 of them and give it to one, gotta do meet the need.
That's one concept.
Nerves and get his shoulders. He's still waiting on my should have seen him trying to drive over here.
Oh, no, I'm good, thank you.
About 200 feet off.
Any opportunities?
Thank you.
That's
Half of that, 19,000. He said, you get $3,500 half of it. Building a new one. He said, that might be worth $40,000. He said, well, sure. I'm really not even sure what I need to know. How to do the zoning.
Yeah, he already bought it. Oh, he's already
Do a field. Also earn do a field. That's what kills me.
I was just thinking that. I just let him look it up.
It's our tourism website. That was so great.
Co-op.
It's one of our newer ones.
That's why they don't make any money. Why they call it not making
So
money.
they cover those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Every pole has a cover. Yeah.
So I said, so what you're doing is you look charging that exorbitant fee covering all these doors. I don't understand. Shouldn't the western part, where you all put on the located, be less Unless you go get maybe a fuel generator, get their solar panels.
Yeah, 20,000 to buy you some solar panels, yeah.
You know,
So you can certainly give more information. Things like that, coming up with the parks and stuff.
walk it. They look at what boom, back on the market. You don't like cold pizza, huh? They have solar panels.
These are gonna be one.
And so they sell.
Why they say,
Take the solar panels off the house.
you know, the way you get paired together, my wife loves to. She'll eat all the leftover pizza in the morning.
Right?
They're in the garage.
Honestly, they would have a huge attached garage.
Okay.
If you want to do it for a living, somebody put on a heat and they put it back on the house.
Maybe talk to her.
They wanted solar panels up.
You don't have it?
I don't know if that's, we have here.
Probably somebody looked at
Roof
some
fan.
civilization.
Gotcha.
I mean, you know what I mean, my neighbor will see something and go, yes.
Beneficial.
Right.
Put them in your warranty. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I also know people that have had their roofs fixed.
Can I just wait until 2026 and then?
Right.
Well, they're ready for their fixed.
And-
Replace the program. They gotta be easier to maintain when they're in the field.
Please feel free to reach out. Ellie and myself will be your plan administrator. We have the information and whatever we provide, so. And that's not cool. Sure. Yeah. No, sure.
Which is where I was.
Oh, yeah, that's not.
Page number. Yeah, but that's part of formatting.
So they'll do that.
They will do that during formatting. We can say it, just to make sure real quick, but that should be part of formatting. Because right now, while you're changing language, that number is gonna change. So you get all your language numbers and then last thing you page. But it's worth mentioning.
So I'm looking for.
I wouldn't want anything.
All right, y'all ready to get it going again? Let's do it. We're on page 21, or did we finish 21? And before we get back into it, just to make the point, formatting, numbering the table of contents, you do that at the end after you've fixed all the language so that your page numbers are right, but just wanted to make sure we didn't forget to do that, so that when people are at the table of contents, they can get to a certain page if they want.
When we first go through the end, can we cycle back? That's up to the
Do we want to cycle back now? What'd you miss?
Let's look at your page here.
Well, no, I got it. Page
Page
22.
10.
Page 10, we missed something?
Yeah.
What did we miss?
So at the top of page 10, it's got 2024, the average wage for workers employed without them is 15,924, and is insufficient to afford most homes currently for sale. So we've already said in this section, talking about affordability and whatnot, that should be looking at the median household income, because whatever the median household income is, that's what they bring to the table in the bag to the lender.
Sure.
Make the
So you want to do that times 2?
Well, no, I mean, it comes to, well, it's not times 2, because the median's a different figure than average. So the median.
Oh, you want a median?
I mean, we've already said.
Median's in here.
Yeah, the median's in there, it's 110,667, already appears in the report. I put it here, if you want to state this again. I don't know what you want to conclude about it, you know, it's tough. I mean, this figure would only be relevant if you were trying to tell a household with 2 workers that they couldn't afford 2 houses.
But the takeaway is still the same, right? Even at 110,000. it's
Yeah, you're
sufficient
down
to
at,
afford
you're
most
down at the
homes.
border, you're not like totally in the basement.
Right,
You know
right.
what I'm saying? You're not at the
Right.
bottom. You're at the bottom.
So are you saying you want average or median?
Median, which is 110,667.
Well, that's already in there, that's 2 bullets above, I think.
It doesn't hurt to put it again.
3 bullets above, it says Powhatan County median household income, 5-year average adjusted 2023 dollars was estimated at 110,667.
This is a whole different statement. This is a worker in Powhatan.
Yeah.
This is not the median income of a household. This is a worker in Powhatan.
Workers don't buy houses. Okay? Workers' household buys a house. When you go to apply, now you might be applying as the only wage earner in the house, and that might be what's in the application. That'll be in, you know, if you're the only wage earner in the house, that'll be in the median, period. But if there's more than one wage earner in the house, then their incomes combined are what's gonna be looked at by whoever's deciding on the credit note to buy the house. That's kind of the way it works.
I agree 100% with what you're saying, but what I don't, this is not saying that. It's just saying that, the way I read this is the average worker in Powhatan, average wage for a worker in Powhatan is $53,924.
Well,
You can take the end of the, which is insufficient for most homes in the county, you could stop it there. But I guess the thing I see of is 53,924 for a worker in Powhatan, that's the average.
Nobody's trying to buy a house, that's all that's all living on your job. And you go to the table, I'm sure you did it yourself. I did it.
Clarify for me, that's a Powhatan job.
Correct, yes.
In Powhatan.
Versus,
Right, so this is where I'm trying, this is a different statement than what you're making.
Yes.
Your statement is about a household's median income, no matter where they work. This statement is for Powhatan County jobs. The average is, so maybe we fix the.
Why would you, well,
It's in the housing section, I guess?
I mean, I don't have any problem when they make the statement, just don't conclude that it's insufficient for most houses in the county, like, that's where the county is. It's not where the county is at all. Most of the people that are going to the bank are going to the bank with the income of them, a person, and their spouse. That's what they're going. I don't care if they live in, and they're trying to buy a house in Powhatan or wherever it is. That's who's coming to the table, okay? And that's what the bank looks at. Now, it's completely misleading to say that because some average worker makes $53,000, then they can't afford the home. Well, no, look, if there's more than one worker working in the house, they're not coming to the table with a $53,000.
No doubt.
Straightforward.
I think if you ended it with the 5394, and maybe it doesn't need to be in that section, I look at it more as an economic point. If the average wage for Powhatan is 53, a worker in Powhatan is 5394, that's taking the teachers, that's taking the county workers, that's taking the guy who works at Classic Granite, that's taking the one that works at the auto parts store.
If you pull it out of this section and you put it somewhere where you're just statistics with the county, no problem.
Well, no, it is, it's in section 2, so.
Well, but you don't want to tie this to a statement that this is about affordability, that
Well, no,
they can't afford it, that's just garbage.
so if it said the average wage of the worker employed in Powhatan was 53,924, the more correct statement would be a comparison. Do we have a number to compare it to, like the average wage of a worker in Central Virginia or all workers in Powhatan versus?
I agree with Bob. Take the part about the efficient afford most homes, but it needs to be clarified. I don't feel it's a bad point to have.
I don't mind, I don't see, it's accurate, it's a fact, I don't see a problem with that, just don't try to draw a conclusion from it, not just.
Is there a number for Central Virginia?
we could get it for that, yeah. The
Maybe
average wage of jobs throughout
He
Central
got-
Right, just to compare us to.
The regional number, yes.
Need to be curious to what it is, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a table with Powhatan on it versus Central Virginia or versus Chesterfield or some,
Yeah.
you know, this way it's not just a statement, a factual
Right.
statement's not really telling you anything. But if it's a comparison to wages elsewhere, maybe that's got
I mean, like, you know, the houses I've owned, I don't know about you guys, but the houses I've owned, even the very first house we bought, and then after that, you know, my wife's income, my income came to the table. Now, I mean, the last one, okay, she didn't have to have her at the table, but before that, I only got the loan, period, you know, if I hadn't come to the table, but, you know, what we could afford as a family, everything. That's just, that's what happens.
So we'll work on that.
Page 22, Gene?
Yep.
Back to 21.
21 or 22, we clear on 21? I didn't hear anything on 21, I was ready to go to 22. Any comments on 21? Anything we need to look at?
We changed.
We already fixed the will,
Yes.
I thought we had finished it.
Moving on.
22,
The second paragraph, it says the CWG discussed avoiding multimodal connections to 60. I thought though, I know that whole paragraph's accurate, but I also thought we said there was going to be, we recommended there being one in some existing thing across from somewhere near Branchway.
We recommended having a vehicular connection. So in other words, you would drive from Route 60 into the village. This is saying multimodal, meaning no bicycle routes or
Okay,
sidewalks
gotcha.
out onto Route 60.
Okay, that's fine.
And it's just a recommendation.
Yep.
It doesn't mean you can't do it, it's just,
I got you. I didn't understand multimodal. Okay. I'm good.
I thought maybe in this space somewhere put what the village is now, and then sort of show what's being, I mean, I know we have a map here showing what's being added, but maybe we just do a, you know, what it is now and kind of zoom in and say this, and the next map will show what's being added.
show the whole village. Show the whole village.
Yeah.
Well, the whole,
Keep this map as well, but maybe before,
go to 23?
before you would have a map of where it is now, and then the next map would be what you're proposing to add.
You looking at page 23?
yeah,
22, 23.
22 into 23, he's talking about add a map that shows the existing village before you show what the 245 we're at.
Yeah, but I mean, the map that you're looking at there does show the village as it currently.
Yeah, it-
But it doesn't show the whole thing.
The whole, it shows the,
But it's short, the village goes up here another,
Not very far, it doesn't.
so can you make it all on one map?
We could make it bigger. Yeah.
Just make that bigger than Compass?
well, I like this map. I like this map because it does show, it gives you that real parcel level detail, but I'm just talking about kind of a back out map showing it. Here's the whole
If
village.
we back out, I mean, if you show the two, I mean, they're clearly different, so you can show the one color, you know, one bank, these are all the ones that are currently in it. These are all the ones that are currently coming in it. As long as you include everything that's currently in it, then there's the answers, and, you know, it's not a problem to make, it's not a problem to zoom this out a little bit, make sure you get all the existing parcels in this.
And make the actual print larger on the page so that it's still readable is all I'm saying.
Well, we'd have to just expand down the
Right.
page a little bit.
Expand the page and then, like when you say zoom, that would take away or add granular, you know, whichever way.
Well, yeah, you can leave it the same.
I'm saying make it a bigger, make it an actual larger map so that you're not cutting any of it out and leave it at that scale. And just still have one map which
Okay.
show the existing bus act. Is that good?
Yeah, you can do it.
And Ligon was trying to fill the page, so we just have to move some paragraphs around. Move some paragraphs around. and make sure.
Anything else on 23? 24.
The 109 on the map, I think got moved. Used to be kind of in the center.
Just the location of the description.
I can move it. You want it over there around
It's closer to the
4257G or something like
Yeah,
that?
it's closer to the center.
I want it in the centroid.
Got it.
That's what I tell
You
them
mean
at
the-
work when they ask me
You
that
mean the
question.
centroid parcel? We can do that.
They say in the center, I say, well, not the center.
Centroid. All right. Moving on to 25.
Where's that rendering from? Is that local or?
I was thinking the exact same thing. Is there something local that we can do instead of the rendering? or-
The images are kind of hard to dig up, but I could
GIS has a droid, a drone.
Yeah, I can,
Send that thing out and go get a
I
picture.
was thinking better if it's not local, actually. I think it was more.
yeah, I mean, I think that just came from the
It's sort of a
recesses
visionary
of the
thing,
internet
not like,
somewhere.
do it exactly like this guy did.
I mean, if you, yeah, I agree, if you show a picture that's actually out there.
Yeah, I don't-
It just might be kind of hard. I mean, I can try to,
Probably the only thing you've got,
I think it's
the
good.
only thing you've got out there is settlement
yeah,
village.
I agree.
Got some dream footage and stuff
Yeah,
on it,
look,
pull some stuff. I'm marketing it up.
Not a big deal. I'm not against it. I looked at it and I was like, we have all these cool maps and pictures and then we get to.
well, we're gonna shoot the droid knows.
Right? Am I good on 25, moving to 26?
Jamie, I have just a question for 26.
26.
The middle paragraph, maybe I missed the meeting, or have I hit it or sleeping? Did we talk at this level of specificity on Holly Hills?
No.
So where did this come from? Because I don't remember the conversation.
Yeah, so this is in here because we talked about adding Holly Hills to the agenda several times, and we never really dug into it. So I figured if it was something that the group agreed with, we could have that discussion tonight, or we could have another meeting to have the discussion, but it was pretty much just me digging into Holly Hills to see what was over there. We did have a discussion on Holly Hills in meeting minutes, but it was very high level. It was not in detail. It was just something I've been wanting to do. It was on my to-do list, and we never got to it. So this is,
I thought you tied in pretty nicely with the priority, you know, the economic priority opportunities that are now risen just to the east of connecting with the Oak Bridge.
Yeah, conceptually, I agree with what's written here. I just,
Yeah.
like Billy, I didn't remember this conversation.
Yeah, I
I thought
mean-
maybe it was a subgroup.
unless we rewind, this is going to be more of a probably one that Susan to look at, or this with the staff, or somebody else. If there's something actionable with infill development over at Holly Hills. But you can see it talks a little about what's for sale and the cost of it. And then it throws in an example of being able to basically walk to work. Like if you look at where Holly Hills is versus Oak Ridge, the jobs, you know, it's like a mile and a half if you get out on Route 60 and slug your way to the entrance to the subdivision. But if somebody builds a 8-foot wide asphalt trail, it's 3/4 of a mile.
Call us women when we do it.
Well, I mean, he's always telling us to look for these opportunities,
Yeah.
so, I mean, it's right across the creek out
I
of
should
back of
use
Holly
the-
Hills, and it's, you can just walk or bike to work, so, I mean, I don't know where else in Powhatan County you're gonna walk or bike to work, personally, but, if you know, if you have a modest income, and you need a modest home, and you wanna be able to walk or bike to work, this was a unique opportunity. And then, by comparison, what we added was workforce housing across the street, so it's closer to Walmart. You know, there's other potential advantages of being on Page Road, but this to me, you know, looked like a really good opportunity that the board could explore, to, you know, incentivize or at least encourage development of infill development.
It's a fair amount, for it comes from 22, basically runs all the way down to 27 through there. Holly Hill.
Yeah, Billy's on map, page 27.
No, I'm just looking at how much is written there, you know, about Crazy Rooster and all the other stuff.
And Bob helped me with the map, we drew a red line. You can kind of see where the trail would go, and it crosses a creek somewhere in there, but,
When does it start? Does it start before 26?
Actually, so.
That's on 27.
26 and 27.
26 and 27.
Yeah, it's,
So, I mean, it just shows a little granularity on, you know, an example.
Yeah. Like I said, me personally, I like the idea. You're trying something, it's an infill, which is a, you know, something you really don't do.
Let's not have another meeting.
It's either in or out.
I think maybe what we do is fully read it, digest it, and maybe make some comments back to Ligon and then let him work with others. I don't, in theory, don't it doesn't scare me, but it was the first time I really saw it. And I'd just like to read and digest it, but I don't want to do another meeting. That's just me speaking, so.
I move we just let the comments, you want to let the subcommittee look at it, make a decision among themselves, and if they're good with it, we're good with it. Is that fine with me?
And we're not the only two people sitting at the table, so.
The only thing, I would just like to remove specific business names. I don't think we've done that anywhere else. I don't have a problem with calling out the name of the subdivision and then the name of the economic park, you know, the industrial park, but just say to central, you know, yeah. Because as much as I love what Crazy Rooster does for the county, when their competitor reads this, they're gonna be very upset. That's the only reason I say that.
So should the second paragraph, or the third paragraph on page 26 read something like this? CWG recommends county staff work with local stakeholders, including nonprofit organizations, volunteer groups, to evaluate strategies to encourage infill development of vacant parcels in, take Holly Hills and just say in neighborhoods. I don't need to just focus only on Holly Hills.
In existing neighborhoods.
In neighborhoods.
Just use the map of Holly Hills as an example.
Holly Hills is an example, but
Good. Yep.
I remember us talking about it, I think, because I seem to remember us talking about Holly Hills being not supportive of building around it.
Building more houses, yeah.
yes, they were very vocal.
Yeah.
How about around Chestnut Oaks, on the backside of Chestnut Oaks? Is there anywhere on the backside that's able to be built upon?
Water and sewer. That's your problem over there. Getting water and sewer to there.
But I think the way that we kind of reworked it to say infill in general.
Yeah.
I mean, if Chestnut Oaks is a good candidate for that, then the board ought to look at that, yeah.
Any of them.
Yeah, any of them, yeah.
Red Lane.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't believe, look what happened with, I can't remember the name of it. The one with the lakes,
Like Shawnee.
Lake Shawnee. I mean, some of us remember when we were kids.
Campground.
It was campground, you know? Today it's not a campground.
I wanted to look at that too, it doesn't have the same advantages to the economic priorities.
Yes.
So it was.
And it doesn't, it really doesn't, but I'd like to think that county
But you
should
just
look.
an example.
Right. That's like you say, you're walking to work.
Yeah, that's a really good example.
I think if we just go through there and neutralize some names and then leave Holly Hills as the example map.
Like that. It's exploring infill development, it's a slightly different strategy,
Yeah.
But we still use the example.
and then you include the example.
Like we talked about Dawson, he was moving there. I'm teasing you. We explored.
If I could walk to work?
If you could, what do you think about it?
You'd
Oh,
waste so
yeah.
much time in a car.
Yeah, well, so a lot of those are rental houses that have been, you know, people are, that's their retirement. They bought in those, he's pointing out the map and some of those sales that were in Red Lane. Red Lane, you know, throughout time has been a lot of rental property, and those are all being converted. The rental people are getting out of the rental business, and now it's owner occupied. A lot of those sales, you know, because you might have somebody that owns 3 or 5 of them, and they put them all on the market, one right after the other, and maximize their retirement. And then, you know, the person that bought them doesn't necessarily buy the batch of them, it's individual owner occupied. All right, the bottom of 27, we go into HRO 4, into 28, anything?
So 28, I just had a question, accessory dwelling units. Did we mention, and I know we had a lot of dialogue on ADUs and on, don't disagree with the statements right here, but one of the things to keep in mind that I'll use Don's existing neighborhood has covenants, restrictions, CCRs that probably preclude ADRs in there.
I don't think it does.
No, it don't, 'cause there's two in there that I know of.
It probably should, but it doesn't.
There's two of them
So
in that
by
one,
putting-
his subdivision.
By encouraging ADRs, are we, I guess, would the board then be, I guess, I remember being on the board, we tell people, they say, well, our covenants and restrictions don't allow this, and we said, man, that's separate. We can recommend something, but if your covenant and restrictions, we need to go to court.
Correct.
So I guess if we're saying ADUs in neighborhoods and the covenants restrictions don't allow, then it's up to the covenants
Covenants and restrictions to enforce them.
Okay.
The county's not gonna enforce it. Yeah, that would happen. There are plenty of subdivisions that would be exactly the case.
There was a point in one of our meetings where I think Bob talked to you again about looking at how many ADUs have been done countywide, but I think the number is generally on the low side.
That's what we did find.
Yeah, we didn't, you were not able to do it. It was just too.
Oh, that's why they're having a hard time extracting that data because,
And I talked to Jamie, I tried to,
Yeah.
I couldn't extract it either.
First ADU district this county approved was
Right.
District 4, and it was because the parents would move out of their house, let their kids move in.
The bigger house and they
And
were.
then we're going to the small house to let the kids, and let the kid have the bigger house. And I mean, the neighbors were all confused, and they, you
What
can't.
that means.
Yeah, but that's exactly, I mean, we kind of pitched it along those lines as a way to have a multi-generational option on the property, and that's exactly what we figured would happen. The kids, they obviously got the kids, they need the bigger house. You go back to a small one, they gave an opportunity. So I think we already sort of sold that as an okay thing. So.
Well, I was gonna
But
say.
it's by right.
If anybody's got any extra land, I'll propose I move out there and get back to it.
The way this is written, though, it's not written to be like blown up. It's not, we're not saying we should do so much more of this, and I think a lot of the housing strategies just kind of work together. They're not intended, David said, I was talking to him earlier on the pizza break, like he said we should try different things. So when you read the housing strategies that are coming out of this report, they're all ideas, but none of them are, it's not like economic priority, that's like a driver.
But I mean,
The way it was written, these are.
But I
more
think it's a combination. I
being
think
flexible.
Yeah, it's what I told somebody was, you can't do one of these singly and achieve balanced development, so to speak. If you do some, a little bit of it, all of it, you may be able to turn the needle somewhere. But you're not gonna do ADUs and walk away and think it's the greatest thing
And
in
if you tried to just pick one and do it countywide, it would be like, social engineering, it would be like trying to force something, whereas this is more like, hey, we have lots of ideas, pick the one that fits you and your family, or your income level, and then find that solution, because if you connect people to solutions, they get housing, so that's the goal.
But it doesn't take any action on the part of the board, because, except for, as Billy says, when you run into a restricted covenant, this is a by right use, right? In those zoning districts. where it's allowed.
And as it says, it's a modest refinement, so again, we're trying to say, we're tweaking things, we're trying to give people options, that's the goal.
On 28, the first paragraph, it says, such developed thirds, and it's down the third line down, should be sensitive to rural landscapes, low impact, and carefully regulated. Are we talking about any types of careful regulation? Is this just a general?
Well, doesn't the ordinance carefully regulate them?
Well, we are saying in rural areas that residential development should be carefully regulated, and should be sensitive to rural landscapes and low impact.
Right, but I'm saying, so that carefully regulated, is that going above and beyond something we're currently doing? Or is it more just an aspirational?
I felt like I'm not sure if I wrote those words, but what I felt those words meant was to take care. So in other words, if it's in an area that has, things around it, it's a matter of just taking care to follow all of the requirements. Definitely, we didn't talk about increasing regulation.
Okay.
This is under ag, right? Yeah, this is under supporting rural character. So we're saying if you're in an A10 and you're gonna do, development of any kind, it just has to be carefully considered, maybe that's a softer word.
I mean,
What is
that,
careful?
no, it can't be-
Means, no, don't worry about it, it's okay. I don't think you put carefully, it just should be regulated by the ordinance.
Oh,
The ordinances regulate them, they permit them, they say what size they can be based upon half the size of this, bigger or much back.
Okay.
I think it's a lot of, if I remember the regulations, it says how big they can be.
No, this is above ADUs. We went back a paragraph.
No, this has to do with rural
This-
characters.
This has to do with the whole
Okay.
rural character of
Okay, I
the
apologize, I
state.
apologize, okay.
I mean, right now, the way it sits is, in the comprehensive plan, you have this, in the direction of the comprehensive plan, these rural areas is, that you pay attention to these things. But when you get to the ordinances, well, there's a by right situation in the ordinance, and, you don't really have to, if you pass what's in the by right,
Right.
I don't care what you're doing, as long as you didn't violate the by right, there's nothing they can do about it.
And like Billy said, the right word is regulated.
Yeah, regulate.
It should be regulated.
Okay.
It should be regulated.
No, I mean, if you.
Yeah, carefully gives sort of an indication that we're suggesting doing more. We're just saying it should be regulated.
Right.
Because it's potentially impactful.
And you could, for example, you could put a by right 10-acre subdivision, anywhere up in the, in the rural area, you could do that. And as long as you had the public road going in there for the house there, there's nothing the county can say about it. And in fact, the county never see it because it'd end up in Lincoln's office, and once it passed to the administrator, it'd be done.
But it is regulated. It is regulated. He
Well,
says
yeah,
we're legally able to do.
Yeah, it's legally, you're able to do it, it's by the ordinances. Yeah. Now, if they want.
You want to change the regulation?
No, but I mean, then they have latitude, so if you came in and said, well, no, wait a minute, I gotta have more houses, and I want it on a private road, wait, stop.
That's right.
Okay, now they're gonna have to.
Yeah. And to be honest, that's kind of a result of what the board put in place was 10-acre by right, if you want to use that term. If you want to rezone them, that gets you bigger control. And it is regulations that regulate the 10-acre lots.
Yeah.
And you can't really mess with that because that there would be a by right option of that character is a requirement under state law. That's in the code. There's nothing we can do about it. We have to have it, no matter whether you like it or not. So, that's it. Kind of untouchable.
So we're basically, to Chris's question, Don's, I think, brought it up, or maybe just pull carefully out of there.
Yeah,
That's what we're talking about?
Yeah.
Good.
It's up to 30.
29, finishes ADUs and starts into conservation subdivisions.
I got something on 30.
All right, we're good on 29, moving on to 30.
So this is just, this statement here needs to be corrected. This is at the top of the page in the first sentence, third line. It's talking about recommends change in current ordinance, remove land designated natural conservation areas, the future land use map. So, this is the character taking those out of which you can count, like the double counting and conservation subdivision, all of which was fine, and we voted on that. But then there is to describe what's in the natural conservation areas, and wetlands, yes, streams, yes, floodplains, yes, slopes, yes, wildlife corridors, no. That's no part of natural conservation. I mean, there may be some wildlife corridors in there, but there's tons of wildlife corridors that have nothing to do with conservation.
So we're removing wildlife corridors.
Good.
Well,
We had a lot of that dialogue. Well,
That's a
it's all
bad thing to say.
522.
We're not removing that.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, there's plenty of wildlife corridors.
Well, yeah, which is why you're given an opportunity for the, for the proposed developer to come to the county and say, all right, here's what we're giving up. Now, if they say they got this wildlife, when they gave something up, I'm saying it isn't off the table because it was protected.
Yeah, they will find a way. I guess I don't look lost.
Taking that out?
Just taking the
Kill wildlife
words, the
corridors.
wording, wildlife, just comma,
that's no part of
streams,
that.
comma, floodplains. Just removing that. Anything else on 30? We get all those math bonuses and all right? 'Cause I just highlighted that page for somebody else to review. I was not trying to sit there and figure out the math on all those. All right, 31. Same thing, these bonuses under the CUP.
One question on that chart, when we voted on the conservation subdivision, did we say up to 85%? And really
Yeah, we landed on, we voted
it
on
was up to
65 and
85.
65 and 80.
Kinda-
Yeah, we landed on up to 85.
Right,
That's
so-
what I had pointed out.
Right, so is this not accurate then, right? Right.
Not according to what I had remembered.
Right,
but-
not according to the minutes that I
Correct.
reread also.
Oh, so under 60% under CUP, that should say 85% bonus?
Yeah.
That's what they
Well,
would say.
Yeah,
There were two-
if you go down this route, it's an up to 85% bonus.
Regardless.
Right.
Well, yeah, wait, back up. So when the board of supervisors put this on the table, they had these two categories. And you had to get into one of these categories to get the bonus. So if you were willing to give up, let's see, 60%, right, of the parcel went into the CUP, right? Or 60% went into the conservation easement, then you would get a 65% bonus. You know, if you did 70%, you get an 85% bonus. But if you want 63%, you don't get any different bonus, you still get a 65% bonus. And it's not like a scaled picture here. That was never on the board. The board never put that in front of the, put that out there. So this is just using the same framework that the board put out to begin with, is what they were asking for.
So you do 60 or 70?
You gotta do, yeah, you can do 60, that will get you a bonus, or you can do 70, will get
That's
you a
not what we
bonus.
voted on.
Yeah, I thought when we voted though, and I think it's in the minutes. It says in all other cases, a CUP is required, which includes higher density up to 85%.
Well, that just means that's the maximum you can get.
Right, but it didn't stratify,
Correct.
it didn't limit the 65 or whatever that was.
60 and 70.
Yeah, it eliminated the two-tier system.
That's right.
Well,
It's different than what I get what is current, but that's what we voted on.
that's not what I thought we voted.
When I read the minutes, that's what I.
Because I had even pointed it out
Right.
in my red lines.
Right.
Did I change it right?
He didn't, no, but I was gonna wait and see.
Well, it's a
Because
very,
the meeting minutes are correct.
it's a very different thing than what the board of supervisors has put out there so far.
But nobody's disputing that.
Yes,
We're not disputing that.
but it's not what we voted on.
Because of the public process.
Yeah, well,
So,
I spent so much time looking at what they put out the last time, that I just have that pretty strong stamped in my mind now. If you want to go that, give this recommendation, or continue this proportional scale, I guess, do that. I don't know how they would receive it.
Well, I don't either, but I'm saying that's what we voted on. And it was kind of like, it was somewhat of a give and take, right? We excluded wetlands, plains and all that from the calculation, but then we said, the counter to that, if that's the right term, is you'll be able to get up to an 85% bonus, not a 65, it's up to 85.
Higher scrutiny.
Right, higher scrutiny, you ought to get a higher benefit if you can pass the scrutiny.
So you want to write that, so
Right.
you want this to read that at 60%, you can get a bonus, it's a 65% bonus here. And, then it just scales right up to 70%, right, at which point you get a 85% bonus. And you can do anything between and get a, proportion on the way, that's what you're saying.
No, we didn't say that it would be a scale, we just said that it would be up to that, and that would be part of the CUP.
And the CUP, how they get to the 85 would be regulated by the CUP.
Correct.
If you could,
So-
they might settle at 70 or
Right.
72.
Yeah.
Right, so, and I'm just making sure I'm hearing that 60% was where we started that under CUP?
So the bottom line is basically mute and move, on the first, under conservation easement required, 70% line is mute, cross it out and move all of its data up to the first line and say up to.
Well, wait a minute. So that, it only confuses two things. The portion of the property that's put in the conservation easement is a separate thing from the percentage bonus that you get. Those are two totally different things.
Yeah, but where does it start? If it starts at 60%.
And ends at 70%.
No,
Now what y'all voted.
that's not what we're saying. It could be 75%, it could be 80%, it could be whatever. Anything above 60 is the minimum.
Right.
And there is no second line, and the percentage of bonus will be fought out in a CUP process.
Correct.
We're already giving them 85%, that's 70%, okay?
No, that's,
You don't wanna do that anymore?
no, they took that away.
We said up to 85%.
Right, it starts at 60, and they get up to 80, and that one line is all that's gonna be there. The 80, up to 80 gets determined during the CUP process. 85 gets determined during the CUP process. It might only be 70.
Right.
Correct.
It might only be 65.
Well, wait a minute, so you're envisioning the possibility that they could put, I don't know, what, 60% in there and get an 85% bonus with it?
Yeah,
Correct.
under a CUP.
That's what we voted
I mean,
on.
we never went there before, that's a considerable liberalization of what you're giving to the development
Well,
community.
we never stripped out wetlands and streams and slopes.
Right, we've taken all that out.
We've made a new animal. Proposed a new animal. The board can decide what they're gonna do with it.
Okay,
And there's a
all right, I hear you.
significant amount of feedback. that
And the
comes
public
to-
comment period and all that.
Gotta cross that hurdle.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
I'm good.
You asked for 85.
I got notes, but I wanna-
75.
Right.
And I wasn't at this meeting, but y'all voted, what Jamie described, 60% under the CUP gives a density bonus of up to 85%.
Yep.
Boom, there will be no other
Be
line.
negotiated.
And you take all that data that's on the bottom line and move it up to the top.
Yeah.
And excluding out of the land, the wetlands and all of that. You go
From the
whatever
beginning.
land. If it's
Yep.
25.
That don't matter by
100 acres,
right.
25 acres is all
Take
screwed
that.
up to the wetlands and slope and all the other things that go in it.
That's taken out from the
Then
beginning.
you do 65% of
And
the
the-
remaining acres.
the
you get
compromise-
85 density.
Right, the compromise, the other side of that
Up
was
to.
that, was it nothing in the by right could be in the, where is it, the natural, not natural conservation easement.
No, in the natural conservation
It
area.
couldn't be in the areas,
You
yeah.
can't environmentally protect.
Right, the environmentally
Can't-
protected areas.
Can't
is
use
the
that
word.
in your calculation.
So you can't use the by right. Well, you can't do a by right in any of those at all.
No,
That's
you
what we
can't
said.
use, no, but that was, right, that's an across-the-board statement for all conservation subdivisions, that you can't use land that's in the natural conservation areas and hence is unbuildable. You can't use that as part of the land you're supposed to be giving up.
No, you're not understanding what I'm saying. You can't do a by right conservation easement, no matter how much land you take out at all, in a protected area, is what we
Correct.
agreed to, and that gave the developer the up to 85%.
Bingo.
That was the trade-off that we worked out that whole meeting, was they cannot do a by right in anything that's bright green on this map. Light green, they're fair game, but if it has a piece of bright green in it on this map, they cannot do it by right, it has to be CUP.
No, the bright green there is just the natural conservation areas. We took, what we got was the priority conservation.
It's the
areas.
protected lands.
That's natural
Bingo.
conservation areas. It's the same thing.
Right.
That's not the priority conservation areas, this is what we used. And we said it only, there was anything that had, was CUP, anything that was in the priority conservation areas needed to be CUP.
Yes, I agree with that
Outside
wording,
that,
but I'm
we
trying
had
to
a
find,
big
is that
by right.
not the same?
Anywhere else in the county was by right.
Yes, yeah, but is that not the same language? Where is the map of
It's
that?
not, it's not, don't use the word protected areas, because that's gonna.
That's what they call it right here.
That immediately
Tell me
just
what was
says,
in this
right,
one.
that immediately says.
Is there a newer map that calls it something different?
No.
Yeah, map, but it's stated in the language here, it's map 2 in the comprehensive plan. That's where it is.
Map 2, this is map 5, that's why I'm on the wrong map. Where's map 2? Page is map 2.
Page 50 something. It's in chapter 7.
Chapter 7. Map 2.
Historic resources is map 3.
Map 2, natural resources, priority conservation areas. They're pretty close. That one's got little borders around protected. Yeah.
There's a lot of, well,
Yeah.
it's a big difference, and, I mean, the last
Okay.
one goes away, if you just look
Yeah.
at what's on
We got
Yeah.
priority conservation areas.
Yeah.
Did we base it on priority conservation areas?
Yes,
Okay.
that was the wording. I was using the wrong
That's what
wording
our
for the
report
wrong map.
says, so that's.
So there, no conservation subdivision can be done in a priority conservation.
No, it's not right, it's
No,
just
by
not
C.
by.
By right.
It has to be done
You
by-
can still do it by CEP,
Yeah.
we just took away the by right because we want to look at that area and determine where and help them
Yeah, okay.
got it to the right place.
And written
Yes.
respectfully, Damon, I don't think it's just shifting the numbers up. Because you would, under conservation easement required, it would say 60%. Under density bonus, it would say 85.
Up to.
Then you would do this.
Up to 85.
Up to, over here, your
Well,
acreage would go
That's why I
down.
say, it's not a simple change,
No, it's
because
not.
you would now allow the board, at the board's discretion, you would allow them to give an 85% bonus with only profiting up 60%.
Yes.
And as
Yeah.
David says, that maybe in some ways a little bit of a trade-off for the fact that you've now gotten rid of the unbuildable land out of the calculation. I mean, that's a fair
Correct.
point.
It will be.
I'm not really arguing that. And in fact, I'm not gonna vote against it. I would tell the folks back home that I'm uncomfortable with it, but, you know, I just wouldn't vote.
But you did vote for it the first time.
And it appeared when I said that, because
And you voted
That's not my point, though. My point is that the math is.
The math still has to be worked out.
Yeah.
The math has to be reworked.
You did the math, I checked your math, but I didn't know.
And in this
I mean, you want
example,
me
it
to go
goes
and
from
fix
12 to
that?
13,
Yeah.
which we had done at the meeting anyway.
Yeah, okay.
It was a change of one lot.
Okay, yeah, that's right, one lot.
Yeah, so,
well, it'll become a range of stuff.
I think it will.
It'll become a range of stuff.
You would be able to do this math too, but I don't think 13 is the right number.
I
And
trust
this
the
was- this
two
was
of you
put
to
in
figure
here
out
as an
that
example.
range of
It's
math.
gonna go to like 15
I can-
lots.
I
think it's
can,
gonna go up.
I can give you a new.
so under the example that's in here with 25 acres coming out, doing 60% in the conservation, it's still based on 75 acres, so it's still 13.
It is. Okay.
That's, I mean, that's.
in your
You're
example.
not wrong.
No,
Are the
they
numbers
can't
right?
be in general right, because you're.
The numbers are right, because it's based on it's still calculated
The
based
residual
on the
acreage.
net allowable acreage, which is, we gave up taking out the areas that were in the conservation conservation areas. So in this example, we end up with a net of 75. You do the math on a net of 75, it's still gonna be 13,
Mean at 85?
even at 85.
You know, but I mean, that's for that particular example, so it's not,
But
You know,
But
we
that
use
is the
100.
maximum. I like it showing the maximum, that's
if you
what I
look
like
at the
about it.
scalability of it, though, we're not talking about a swing of 5, 10,
No,
15
no,
miles.
no,
We're talking 1, 2.
1 to 2
Yeah,
last time.
maybe I could stretch to figure out how to get to 3,
Well, right.
but
the difference
that would be hard.
is 1 or 2 lots.
Which was the trade-off.
And as we talked about, that could be the difference in making the deal doable or not doable for a
I
builder.
mean, if
So-
you flopped over into a 110 acre lot, you know what I'm saying, you might, all of a sudden you picked up the extra house or something. It'd be one of those.
It's a number.
And there's no use, you know, the reason to go to 100 is because when everybody sits down to do this and trying to understand what the hell it's all about, the board included, the standard thing to do, in the Ligon's office, the standard thing to do is look at the 100 acre case, because it's just kind of simple to deal with.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, there's no reason to try to confuse them, you know, beyond that. So, well, I can read you the table. It provides exactly that statement of flexibility and, you know,
Well, if we get better outcomes, then the buy right option maybe will go away, just naturally. So people may just decide to follow the CUP process.
well, it's entirely possible.
From a developer's perspective, I think that trolling the waters of the CUP is definitely going to be, it's going to be tested more often than not, even in a by right condition, to see can they get the additional lots out of it.
Right.
And because it's a big deal. And if the resistance appears and they can still do it by right, I think you'll see people drop back to do it by right. I think if the resistance appears and they have to do the cup, they'll walk. I mean, it's achieving what we really wanted.
Right.
In the
Or in that
big
case,
picture.
or in that case, they may not achieve it because they're backing up to the buy right, in which case this could be revisited in the future by the board. They could say, well, we're not getting the result we wanted because people aren't taking advantage of the higher density bonus. So it might be ours to figure out.
The board has already green-lighted this difference because in the strategic plan, on, number 6, right? The rural presentation on number 6, they've already said on these things in the country subdivisions that they don't want a one-size-fits-all picture. They want to be sensitive to the, which is exactly what's going on here. So, yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna, I mean, I'm not saying they're gonna be changing around, tweaking, or God only knows what's gonna happen, but, you know, in terms of going in that direction, yeah, that's exactly the direction we're moving. Yeah, I'm fine.
So the table needs to be updated.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll do it, I'll do it. I'll send it to you, it's okay.
Bob and Chris can figure that out.
Yeah, we're good.
What page, Jay?
I'm at the end of 31, moving into family subdivisions.
Has this been made, I'm sure you looked at this, so has this been made consistent with what the board actually passed there?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Okay.
All right. HRO 8, middle of 32. UDDs.
One grammatical thing before we go to UDDs, on that page where UDD starts, but the end of the paragraph, the second paragraph of, where it's in parentheses, previously 8 acres, it says there were recommended changes to lot size.
Top of the page on page 32.
It's not,
Yes.
yeah, the end of that first paragraph. It just doesn't read.
Yeah, there were recommended changes.
They were recommended.
Yes.
See where it is, Ligon?
It's the last sentence.
First paragraph, last sentence should be a past tense.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Does this include 33 or no?
We're getting ready to.
Okay, I'll wait.
If nobody changes on UDD on 32, we'll go to 33.
I wanted to say on UDD, there's a, if you Google UDD, stuff out there, I think it's like urban development district, it has a different connotation completely.
Yes.
So I don't, just for anyone who gets like sidebarred, you know, about what this means, this is not an urban development district or an urban development area. It's not that view that we're talking about.
It most appropriately fits under a type of dissociative disorder.
So, yeah.
Right.
Because I did check that, because, you know, this stuff matters, but if anyone asks, it's a unified development district. It's to unify and, you know, allow flexibility. Thank you.
Who had something on 33? I heard somebody.
Yeah, 33, it says, the first bullet says no more than 6 units per acre. Is that what we agreed to? I just can't recall 6. Because I know we said currently across from wherever Woody's office is, there's 8 per acre or whatever right there. So that would eliminate that, is what this is.
I wasn't here for the meeting.
Yeah. I
Do you
remember
remember, Ligon?
6 was talked
Okay.
about. I felt like that was the number that we
Okay.
nodded on, but
Okay. I'm just asking, I can't remember.
Well, the only thing I say is, we wrestled with this many times over my years involved, and each parcel is different. Now, it's hard to set a number for each parcel, but I guess if you, I don't know why you would, if everybody thinks the village, because everybody doesn't think the village, some people say it's ugly. We get a lot of compliments on it, and that's 8 units an acre, why you would want to go to 6. I'm just one person.
It says anticipates, so
Right.
that it's not from.
And also, the reason, the reason that the 6 was is because that's outside, that UDD can be outside of that village area.
Well, I thought it says it encourages it.
It does. It says we're encouraging these village areas, but
Village in this Route 60 corridor, east growth areas. Regulatory framework for development within the county's 2 strategic growth areas, village growth area, that's page on the bottom of 32, growth area at Route 60 east. In the case commercial residential mixed use in UDD would function as a flexible master plan zoning district that would accommodate. So I don't see them being, are we saying they're appropriate for other areas of the county, or are we saying they should be in Route 60 corridor and the village? I thought that's what the meeting prior to the meeting that I missed.
yes, I agree. I just meant they're outside of the village. Like where we talked about them specifically was out there at Page Road.
Could extend outside.
But I mean, the language that we voted on in the meeting was 6, right? We could check that with the video, or whatever it is.
Okay,
We did it, I'll see.
voted on it, done,
Then you're visible.
Yeah. Fine, move on.
Okay, good.
All right, if we're good there, we'll move on to HR 09, page 34, our clustering and cottages.
We're a district again.
Oh, there it is.
We're a new district. First one.
Yep. New area. Just gonna have to clean that up. Count on Roxanne to catch all those.
So if I didn't meet any of the criteria of a retiring or workforce person, a resident seeking lower maintenance, I guess I could be one of those. I could move into one of these cluster neighborhoods.
I think once somebody gets them approved by CUP, you can do whatever you want.
Well, I don't know why we need to have all of that in there if you wanted to move in there. But it's okay. I'm just being a little.
You're gonna get to be too old to ride a bicycle anyway.
No, man, I ride my bicycle. I rode 15 miles with my grandsons the other day. It's like the road being the ground.
I just says, you're gonna get there.
I hope I do, Bob. Being honest, I don't know.
I think you
Sometimes I wonder.
in a shed in the backyard.
Hey, they got e-bikes now, you can let
I was
it,
getting ready to say.
everything you got. So you have to pedal it.
That's the direction I jumped.
I do like the comment at the end, manufactured home. As a reminder to the board, that option exists today. At the very end of last paragraph, 34.
Yeah.
And it's another tool in the tool belt.
That's a good section.
So, the supporting housing options for the elderly, one of the fastest growing things right now in the area.
You already jumped to 35? That's the next page.
Yeah, I'm sorry, nobody say anything on 30.
No, I'm with you. I didn't know if you were trying to put that in that section. I was like,
No,
no, that's
no,
the
no.
next section,
It's
yeah.
the next section.
Moving on, HR
One of the
010.
fastest growing things that are going on in the area are senior apartments.
I have a question. All these options, are they absolutely
in need of water and sewage. Can we not have what we've had in Powhatan all these years, the well and septic?
So, Doug Bradbury, and he, unfortunately, he gets back, but Doug ended up having to leave, probably didn't feel good with what he's got going on, but he says, you'll always say, well, water and sewer. If somebody has a piece of property, they wanna put their own system and their own water on it, why can't you consider that? I said, Doug, then bring it up, but to your point, to get any type of density, it'd be tough. You'd have to have your own water system, I guess, your own sewage system, but it can be done.
Yeah, but
Done in a
to me,
locality.
mathematically, it doesn't work when you look at density. Like, you can allow smaller lots, right? Like condense where you're putting all the houses, but you're gonna still have this huge area somewhere for a natural drain field because of how it works. Does that make sense? Like, so when you talk about density, it really isn't density, it's allowing the smaller cluster, right? So you could put all 5 of these houses on 100 acres and then put in your own private septic system that supports them on the other 99, right?
On the conservation.
Yeah, I mean, that's, so,
You
that's,
basically got 1 acre lots in Chestnut Oaks, and they
Yeah.
have drain fields.
They do.
and most of them do not have reserve drain fields because they were designed before our current standards. You would not be allowed to build a bunch of those houses because they don't have any reserve drain field.
There's no drain fields now.
Right. And I mean, when that drain field fails, you're looking at a $30,000 alternative
If you
septic.
don't believe it, go look at Capeway Road.
Yeah.
There's one getting ready to be put in.
They're putting them in every day. There's one on Page Road right now. Because those old septic systems, they just,
Age out.
they age out and people don't maintain them like they're supposed to. That's the actually probably the higher percentage of failure is because people don't pump and do what they're supposed to do to the septic system. And so then the drain field part of it fails and then you're stuck with an alternative system. But to answer your question, you could do it. Density is not a problem. It's that you own a big enough space to put that drain field on and cluster all the houses in one place.
This kid did one, they were many years ago. That was a community well and a community drain field septic system. They did it with the buffering all around the outside, tight to on the inside. Yeah, I often wondered who's maintaining the.
That's what I've always said, who maintains that shared septic, like how does that?
What happens when it fails?
But
Everybody
yeah,
gets
like
an
Cummins
assessment.
Farms is a part, they're all shared wells, they all have an internal well system, but then they all have individual septic systems on each lot, which that's an advantage because of the distance from well to septic, like when you start putting houses together, my septic can't be but so close to your well, etc. So when you have a shared well system, it opens up a whole lot more land to usable septic system, because we're sharing a well. There's some alternatives out there.
Gotta have a good flow of that water.
Oh, they got a big storage tank and a big pump.
What is that?
Tillman's Farm, they got a huge pump, huge pump.
Well, Del Monte Lewis, I know when he brought that project forward, we started, I said, you are crazy, Del. Anyway, these blessings already passed now.
All right, anything in HR to elderly? Everybody happy with that section? Moving on to Community Land Trust. Yeah, I thought it was a good section, lays it out,
What, you did, voluntary?
it's all voluntary.
And I think if the county chooses to put it in place, and then they can be the ones that have all the other criteria that who manages it and all those other things.
Roxanne, what's your comments on land trust?
Need to know a little bit more about them. I mean, I like it. I like what Henrico's done with theirs, so, but I think I need a little more info.
You go to the Virginia Land Trust website, they'll have everything you can ever read about a community land trust. And it's actually done very well and digest it, and I get wrapped up in a bunch of minutia terms, but they've got a good website to understand the complexities, and how they suggest they be done. And the executive director, great. She'll call you, talk to you for hours on community land trust, and stay with the vote that long.
I mean, you got that, which we decided to put in there, you got that qualifying statement there that says, and should not require county funding since I think the CRPs is entirely through voluntary profits.
Yep.
That's pretty clear, and just, and for the very purpose to distinguish us from where Wyco was, where they actually had a pot of money and they were willing to put on.
60 million.
So,
That what they put in?
that's not happening for us.
That's over half of our county budget today.
Well, you know.
They put more money in their land trust than the other 7 land trusts in the state of Virginia.
Right.
And put in there.
Right, and I mean, they put more in there than our real estate tax income is.
What a great economic plan they have over there. No, just kidding. Teasing.
All right, any closing comments on that section? And then we'll go to the maps, make sure everybody's happy with them.
The maps are just blow ups.
I think we need more color.
Look, I printed mine out in black and white just for you.
I didn't say it, Bill.
They do show up shaded, right?
Yeah, they are shaded different shades,
Yes.
but that's all
Don't
Bill
like it
sees.
black and white.
That's all Bill
Put it
sees,
in
no.
grayscale.
That's why I do my laptop, so I'm cheating.
All right, we'll just go through the maps one by one. Anybody got anything that jumps out that we need to correct in the maps or anything they saw wrong? I think you guys spent a bunch of time on it, so I hope it's.
I have a question on map 2, and I think I just don't remember correctly, so I just need someone to remind me. Over there, the left side of where Page Road comes in, so it's 4226 and 4226N. Did we look at? Oh, okay. Never mind. I resolved it myself. Got it. Thank you.
Right.
I apologize.
I looked at the maps on the computer too before I printed them. I didn't have any issues with them.
No, I didn't either.
All right, that gets us to page 41. The last thing is just a little discussion on the presentation. So you guys gonna clean this up?
Yeah, I think that,
I don't think we need another meeting. If
Right.
somebody tells me we do, then we'll get it on the calendar, but clean this up, get the formatting right, page numbers right, that kind of stuff.
yeah, but,
And then,
no, it's hard, we can,
Yep.
maybe
Then-
Don, Chris, we can kind of,
yes,
Yeah,
do that little thing
I took
again.
notes too. I may not have caught everything, but I'll back.
Yeah, I got my sense, I think the 4 of us could probably, okay.
Yeah.
and then.
Do we want to make a motion?
Sure.
Make a motion to approve the CWD report as amended.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right.
Probably would have been gang back.
I like it.
So when the 4 of you are going through, you can tell me, double check what I'm giving you, you're doing the right thing. And then I would just be careful when you're reading through there in case there was something promised, it would be at the back of the report and we haven't provided it. Because if that's the case, then you know, make sure we provide it.
And if you find that, we'll virtually handle that. We'll send something out to let everybody read over and submit comments by email or something.
Because this should just be what we noted tonight.
Right.
This-
Right. I mean, we'll send it out to everybody again, and if there's, hey, you missed this, we can kind of go back and forth a little bit. But yeah, back to the
So
presentation.
then the actual presentation, what's the date?
September 11th,
That's questionable at this point, but put it on your calendars for September 11th.
okay.
Liz?
I thought that was a regular.
A couple of our board members are are not available.
Oh,
So we're still posing that question.
so it's gonna be the September.
Tentatively, it's 3 o'clock, September 11th.
Tentatively, keep that for now.
Is that their workshop day?
Yeah, that was their regular workshop date. We were trying to just piggyback
I
on it.
think Bill told me he was out of town.
One, somebody else, yeah.
We'll do a to be determined on that, but do we
Right,
want to figure
so,
out who
so
might?
then the next thing was just, as far as presenting it. So, I mean, I'm fine presenting it and having everybody, supplement that kind of thing. However y'all wanna go, I'm not a word for word thing. I'm gonna sit and hope they're gonna have this ahead of time to digest. So if you have like some points that you wanna make in each one, but my plan was to kinda praise you for the work that we've done above and beyond what we were originally asked. The time that's been done and then just go into a little bit of the overview of each section. And then I would like, if everybody would be there, when they have specific questions that, they wanna fire back and answer, that we can have kind of a team concept there with, well, that was, David's expertise, or that was Chris's expertise, or that, and just kind of, or that was Roxanne's expertise, and let her answer that question. Is everybody comfortable with that?
You think some sort of a PowerPoint with the maps and things like that?
Almost definitely, most definitely.
I was thinking a PowerPoint for each strategy.
Yeah,
One
yeah, there'll
slide.
be a little, like, one slide for each strategy with a map. And if you do it that way, you don't have to appendicize the map. You can put it on the same bullet point with what it's referring to. Does that make sense? Like, if it's an area that is a map, you can have it and then have all the maps available in the project. Yes, sir.
So I agree with you. You're the chairman, and you should present. Could Ligon open it? I wanted to make sure that people of the public know that maybe it was Ligon and Roxanne together, that staff would be instrumental in this. Maybe Ligon does an opening, and Roxanne chimes in a little bit, and then they turn it over
Okay.
to you, and then you take the soups and nuts. But I think it's
Pretty bad, but I
important.
mean, this,
I mean, I would.
Jamie's a guy,
Right.
it's a CWG product, it's not a staff product.
Right. I mean,
I understand that.
We've heard you a little bit, but that's about it, and help, I would probably just go give my experience. Look, I've done these processes, this is where we started, this is what we accomplished, and I will say, this is a really good process.
Yeah.
Because I've been in processes where it didn't flow this well, so, that's really would be my opening comments, would just be more how great
I just
everybody
think
is.
staff needs to be visible. It is at their report, Bob, I agree. Right. We don't need people to think, they were here to guide us and support us. But I do
It
think,
hasn't supported.
when it's all said and done, not you, because you have to be an elected official, are gonna go off to play golf and ride their bicycles every day. You're still gonna be in the heat. They'll still be gone. So I just think it'd be good to do some type of brief opening statement and let you, that's just my opinion.
I don't have a problem.
Oh, no, and I think, you can yourself recognize the importance of them.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's better.
It's a great deal.
Absolutely.
Y'all figure that out.
Right, when they feed it to me, the first thing I'll give is how instrumental they were in their expertise, blah, blah, blah.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, anybody got anything else?
Is there anybody else that wants to be involved in developing a PowerPoint presentation?
No, thank you.
Throw me in there,
We'll all-
before y'all can
I
start,
mean,
and then
I
I'll,
volunteered, I
Yeah.
do.
I want to ask you a question. This is past the CWG's direct input, I think. But, so, so, in terms of what they laid out that they were gonna do, the county and the steps, so there was one there that, okay, so they were gonna have these public, info sessions, explain this kind of stuff like that. So are you guys already
Well,
planning this with them?
Well, I think once they get it, then the idea is, to send it to the planning commission.
Yep.
And then planning commission's gonna hold some probably separate workshops where the public will be obviously
Okay.
welcome to come to and
discuss and make comment and things like that, so.
Okay.
Yeah, ours is just a first recommendation. They're still gonna
Yeah.
hammer through them and.
Yeah.
That's right. It's not us.
Thanks, everybody.
I'll see everybody on the upcoming.
Motion to adjourn. Do I hear a second? Second.
All
Out of here.
doesn't matter.
Appreciate everybody.
Y'all have a good one.
Hey, pizza, anybody want to take some pizza home? Jamie, you want some?
My wife will have it cold for breakfast.